Chapter 46-73 Mount Eternal. This was a forbidden land of death. No one dared to come here. Even a saint would turn into a pile of bones here. There were many ancient cities around Mount Eternal, as well as some great sects and families. They were very powerful. At this moment, a huge city was very lively. Today was the 7,000th birthday of a grand elder of the Palace of Immortals, which attracted countless people. The Palace of Immortals had a very ancient heritage, and it was also a great sect. They were all grand elders' birthdays, so naturally the people they invited were all very terrifying. Among them were many great sects, and even some powerhouses from top families. These people gathered together, and it was very lively. However, at this moment, the sky darkened. There was an extremely terrifying force pressing down on them. Everyone felt terrified. Some saint kings rose into the air, their faces full of shock. What was going on? Even the great saints' eyes shone with divine light, piercing through heaven and earth. The 7,000-year-old grand elder of the Palace of Immortals shouted angrily, "Come down, there's a peerless enemy." He felt a fatal threat. Indeed, the great saints' faces were extremely ugly. At this moment, everyone descended from the sky, looked up at the sky, and waited quietly. In the sky, a huge creature flew past. The people below saw it clearly. They were extremely shocked. There were 9 huge dragons in the sky, each of them 1,000 meters long, with cold scales. Under the illumination of the sun, they bloomed with brilliance. They painted a peerless divine light that pierced through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. 9 true dragons were the powerhouses of the dragon clan here. The people below were shocked. Even the great saints were facing a great enemy. The dragon clan was extremely mysterious. If they were really 9 top-notch experts of the dragon clan, perhaps something earth-shattering had happened. However, the grand elder of the Palace of Immortals frowned. Cold sweat flowed down his face. What was going on? The 9 true dragons had a terrifying aura. However, he didn't seem to feel the existence of chi, blood, and souls. The 9 true dragons were all dead. What kind of power was that? It was supporting their flight. What was even more shocking was yet to come. They found that the 9 true dragons were all chained. And on the other end of the chain, it was an ancient bronze coffin with mysterious Tao patterns carved on it. The aura of the ancient coffin was even more terrifying. Just a single glance at it would cause one's soul to tremble in fear. What sort of existence was buried in that ancient coffin? The grand elder of the Temple of Immortals almost fell to his knees. Could it be that this was the legendary phenomenon of heaven and earth? The people from the other great sects were also shocked. Some of the older generation experts sucked in cold breaths. There were records of this in their ancient books. The 9 true dragons pulled the bronze coffin across the sky. Countless people prostrated themselves in worship. It was said that an immortal was buried inside. At that time, they thought it was just a legend and didn't pay much attention to it. And now, such a scene had actually appeared before their eyes. Hearing the words of these older generation figures, the other people directly knelt down and began to worship. An immortal had descended from the heavens. Someone muttered softly, "Even if there were, they were all dead. Weren't they all buried?" "Shut up!" A middle-aged man turned around and slapped the man's face. "Do you want to die? How dare you disrespect an immortal?" The young man was so scared that his scalp went numb. He immediately knelt on the ground. "Elder, please calm down. I won't dare to do it again." Everyone was paying attention. No one dared to be presumptuous. They watched quietly as the 9 true dragons and the bronze coffin streaked across the sky. Then they flew towards a distant corner. Was he about to land? He was nearby. Countless people were shocked. Could it be that an immortal opportunity was about to descend in their area? These people were all excited. If they could obtain it, wouldn't they be able to ascend to the immortal realm? Let's go and take a look. These people soared into the sky, their eyes red. The young geniuses were very fast, but they were soon left behind. The experts of the older generation and even the supreme elders were mobilized. A few great sages were the fastest. They tore through the void and flew over quickly. The others followed closely behind. This was supposed to be a birthday banquet, but now they couldn't care less. They had to see where the 9 true dragons and the ancient bronze coffin had landed. That was great. Everyone saw that the 9 true dragons were descending. If they landed, they would be able to obtain the inheritance in the ancient coffin. Those people went crazy. The 5 great sages were extremely fast. They passed through everything and forgot everything. There was only the ancient bronze coffin in their eyes. Suddenly, those great sages roared. No, the Grand Elder of the Immortal Hall looked terrified and quickly retreated. The others also fled crazily as if they had encountered the most terrifying thing. What was going on? What happened? The people behind were stunned. In the next moment, they saw something terrifying. A great sage was covered in uncomfortable flames, but at this moment his flames were quickly moving in front of him. His powerful body withered and finally turned into a pile of white bones and fell from the sky. Grand Elder! The Grand Elder of the Fire God Temple knelt down and cried. That was their great sage. Had he fallen just like that? Everyone couldn't believe it. After the other 4 great sages returned, they retreated. In front of them was Mount Eternal. What? It was actually Mount Eternal. Countless people were terrified and quickly retreated. They had known the terror of Mount Eternal since they were young. It was a forbidden land of death that no one could enter. Especially now, a great sage had fallen in an instant. Everyone knew that. Even a great sage couldn't enter this forbidden land of death. Damn it, they had entered Mount Eternal. Those great sage elders looked at the ancient bronze coffin as it fell into Mount Eternal. Their faces became extremely ugly. Originally, they had great hopes of getting the immortal opportunity, but now it seemed impossible. No one could enter. These people's mood fell from the sky to hell. Originally, it was a blessing that they could get close to the immortal opportunity. But now, it seemed that their luck was still a little worse. The opportunity was right in front of them, but they couldn't get any closer. Behind them, among the younger generation, a figure stood there with his hands behind his back. Looking at this scene, his eyes flickered. His figure was very strange, as if he had merged with the void. There was actually an immortal opportunity. Gufeng looked at this scene and frowned. He looked at the surrounding elders and said, "Hurry up and inform the family." The elders nodded. They had already secretly used a formation to send back the news of what had happened here. Beside Gufeng, there was a figure wearing a battle suit and was incomparably handsome. He looked to the side and said, "Brother Gufeng, I wonder if we can discuss something." "Brother Su Lai, what's the matter?" "Say it," Gufeng said with a smile. Su Lai walked out, looked in all directions, and said, "Everyone." Hearing this, everyone turned their heads around. Su Lai was the #1 genius of the Palace of Immortals. His strength was very terrifying. He was the future palace master of the Palace of Immortals. Now that he stood out, what was he going to do? Chapter 46-74. Even the elders and grand elders of the Palace of Immortals were puzzled. Although Mount Eternal was terrifying, the immortal opportunity was hard to come by even in tens of thousands of years. "We can't miss it," someone said coldly. "Young man, do you know how dangerous Mount Eternal is? A great saint in front of us had died. Yes, although the immortal opportunity was good, one had to be alive to take it." These people shook their heads. "Of course, we can't do it, but what if we use an extreme weapon?" Everyone was surprised when they heard this. Some elders gasped. The Grand Elder of the Palace of Immortals' eyes lit up. His eyes lit up. He smiled and walked over with large strides, looking at Gufeng Gugongzi. "Can we join forces and use an extreme weapon? Let's go in together and obtain the immortal opportunity." The others also came back to their senses. "Yes, They were here to celebrate the birthday. In addition to these great sects and families, there was another family that was very special. That was the Huanggu family. It was an emperor family, the Gu family. This was a family that had a great emperor. In the family, there was an extreme weapon, the void mirror. If they used the void mirror, they could display the extreme power. Even if Mount Eternal was powerful, it probably couldn't hurt the extreme weapon. They might really be able to obtain the immortal opportunity. The elders of the Gu family changed their expressions. They had just sent the news, and these people were already thinking about it. Gu Feng frowned slightly and glanced at Su Lai. This person seemed to be too meticulous. He actually thought of such a thing. It would be difficult for him to refuse now. After all, dozens of families and sects around him were staring at him, especially the 4 great saints. Their eyes were burning. If he refused, these great saints would instantly change their faces. Taking a deep breath, Gu Feng said, "Normally, extreme weapons only had the effect of intimidating others. If one wanted to use an extreme weapon, it would consume too much energy. This was not a problem." The Grand Elder of the Palace of Immortals waved his hand. "How many resources do you need? We'll take them out together." That's right. The Fire God Palace also stepped forward. His eyes were red. Their great saint had fallen, and they had to gain something. Otherwise, their losses would be too heavy. The other experts also expressed that they were willing to provide resources together. They would open the void mirror together to see the immortal opportunity. What? Could it be that young Master Gu Feng was unwilling? Or could it be that the Gu clan wanted to secretly use the void mirror to monopolize the celestial opportunity? Someone said coldly. The expressions of the Gu family members changed, and Gu Feng's eyes flickered. Who were they? She dared to sow discord. However, this voice was incomparably ethereal. No one knew who it was. The other people's eyes darkened with a trace of coldness. The expressions of the Gu clan's people turned ugly as they secretly transmitted messages to each other. It seemed that it was impossible for them to monopolize it. Gu Feng also gritted his teeth. Then he transmitted his voice. "Forget it, let's join forces. In any case, the imperial weapon belongs to our clan. Even if we do have the immortal fate in the end, we will still be able to use it. We also have an absolute advantage." That was indeed the case. If they had it, then they had it. They had absolute control. In fact, this is what I wanted to say, but Brother Su Lai said it in advance. Gu Feng smiled. "We do indeed have such thoughts. Everyone can work together to open up the immortal opportunity." "Really? That's great." The surrounding experts all laughed. The 4 great sages were incredibly excited, especially the prime elder of the Hall of Immortality. He was already very old. To be honest, his lifespan was already less than 200 years. He might even have less than 100 years left. He would die soon, so no matter what, he had to get the final opportunity. That was indeed the case. Only the secret technique of the Hall of Immortality could allow him to live for so long. Other great sages would not be able to live for so long, unless they had heaven-defying spiritual herbs. Even so, no one could escape the reincarnation of the heavenly Tao, unless they could become immortals. Everyone, let's return to the Hall of Immortality and make a good plan. The prime elder of the Hall of Immortality suggested. The others nodded. All right. They went back again, but this time it was not for the birthday banquet. It was for the immortal opportunity. After returning, these people began to take action. The various sects took out a lot of resources. Let's gather together. Then they returned to the Gu clan together to activate the Void Mirror. As a great emperor clan, the Gu clan had produced a great emperor. The Void Great Emperor cultivated spatial magic, which was extremely terrifying. On this day, the people of the Gu clan were also extremely solemn. Were they finally going to use the extreme weapon? And it was not a passive defense. They were going to use the extreme weapon to attack with force. 3 great sages of the Gu clan walked out as the hosts. Around them stood the great sages of the other clans. Furthermore, the resources that they had brought with them were all placed in the formation. The array flickered with light, and a terrifying aura spread out. At this moment, everyone felt their scalps go numb. Even the great sages were shocked. A mirror rose into the air, flickering in the sky. In front of this mirror, everyone felt insignificant, as if they were ants. Was this the void mirror? The great sages and prime elders of the Hall of Immortality and the Fire God Palace were shocked. It was too powerful. This was the foundation of a great emperor clan. The awakening of the extreme weapon had the power of extreme Tao, which was equivalent to the power of a great emperor. This power should be enough. A great sage of the Gu clan said, "If the power continued to increase, they might not be able to control it. All right, then let's get ready to go to Mount Eternal." Everyone rose into the air. Many people had already gathered at Mount Eternal. They were all from the great sects and the clan of the ancients. These were the elders and the younger generation. They were all gathered here. "It's here," someone said. Countless people looked up and saw a terrifying light in the sky. Everyone bowed down in worship. This was the aura of extreme Tao. It was extremely powerful. They couldn't bear it. Fortunately, this aura wasn't targeted at them. The people of the Gu clan came to the sky and took a deep breath. They activated the void mirror and lowered an aura. With a crack, the sky fell and the earth cracked. Everyone knelt on the ground. As for Mount Eternal in front of him, a crack was torn in the void. Everyone was shocked. It was too terrifying. This was the power of an extreme weapon. A great sage would be turned into a skeleton in an instant. There was no way for him to escape. But now, in front of an extreme weapon, he seemed to be unable to resist. This was great. The great sages of the other sects beside the Gu clan were overjoyed. The prime elder of the Hall of Immortality was wearing the Immortality battle armor. This time he went in with boundless hope. He had even donned the longevity armor, a legendary sacred artifact. On the other side, a prime elder of the Fire God Palace was wearing a cloak. It was also the Immortality battle armor, the Fire God cloak. The group of people set off in a mighty manner. The void mirror in front of them tore open the void. Everyone walked in. Their hearts were extremely nervous. After entering Mount Eternal, they felt an extremely terrifying aura coming towards them. It was as if it was going to take their lives. Chapter 46, 75. Fortunately, the void mirror was fixed in the void. It unleashed its extreme danger and blocked the attack. That was great. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. In addition to these great gods, there were also a few peak elders. They all had the hope of becoming great saints. There were also some young geniuses who also had the hope of becoming great saints. Therefore, these people were also brought in. Among them was Su Lai of the Palace of Immortals, Gu Feng of the Gu family, Hua Linger of the Fire God Palace, and a few other geniuses. There were about a dozen of them. As for the other elders and young disciples, they stayed outside Mount Eternal. Countless light screens appeared in front of them. It was a shield of light formed by spell formations, and all of the great sages had spell formations attached to them. They were able to deduce what they were seeing. This way, those outside could see the scene inside without going in. It could be said that this was a very precious experience. These people stared the light screens in front of them without blinking. After entering Mount Eternal, everyone was very careful. Although they had the protection of extreme Tao weapons, they still did not dare to be careless. This was because they discovered that there were many terrifying Tao patterns in Mount Eternal. These great Taos were much more terrifying than what they, the great saints, had mastered. They might even have been left behind by the great emperors. Perhaps this was the reason why it was a forbidden land of death. In front, the great saint of the Gu family, Gu Fei, said coldly. Fortunately, the place where the bronze coffin landed was not too far away. If it was in the depths of Mount Eternal, I'm afraid that we might not be able to enter even with Emperor weapons. Indeed, they could already see the figure of the nine-headed true dragon now. It would not take long for them to arrive. Finally, they came to the front and saw the nine-headed true dragon and the terrifying bronze coffin. Their eyes flickered. Another great saint of the Gu family waved his hand and struck out a spatial magic. It formed a spatial rift and enveloped the true dragon. They could naturally see that the nine-headed true dragon was extremely mysterious. Obviously, its entire body was a treasure. If they could take it away, it would be an endless treasure. The rift could devour everything. However, it lost its effect on the nine-headed true dragon. The rift struck the true dragon's body and directly shattered. The surrounding void turned into chaos. How could this be? The Gu clan's great sage frowned. Gu Fei said in a low voice, "Don't be too greedy. Let's start with a true dragon." With their strength, it was impossible for them to take everything away. With that, the great sage nodded and focused on attacking a true dragon. In addition, the other great saints of the Longevity Hall and the Fire God Palace also made their moves. There were 9 of them here, which was more than enough for everyone. However, they soon despaired. No matter what divine abilities or great Tao they used, it was impossible to shake it in the slightest. The Supreme Elder of the Eternal Life Hall looked into the sky and grabbed the true dragon's body, intending to take it away. However, he found that he didn't move at all. It was as if the power of a true dragon had surpassed his limits. Crack! Cracks had appeared on his palm. Helpless, he could only let go. The others also retracted their divine power laws, their expressions turning ugly. Even if they came here, there was nothing they could do. From the looks of it, he would have to use an extreme weapon. The elder from the Longevity Hall looked up ahead. Gu Fei formed a seal with his palms, and the void mirror hung down. His aura turned into chains and wrapped around a true dragon. An extremely terrifying aura suddenly erupted from the true dragon's body and spread to the surroundings. At the same time, Mount Eternal released an indestructible force and charged over. The void mirror shook and a terrifying aura spread. The surrounding great saints felt their hair stand on end. "Damn it, what's going on? Give me your power." Gu Fei's expression changed drastically. This force was too terrifying, and the surrounding people didn't dare to be careless. They attacked with all their might. They gave all their power to the void mirror. The void mirror bloomed with radiance and an extreme aura. The terrifying mirror swept through everything. Only then did it block the indestructible path. The great saint of the Fire God Palace said, "Don't think about the true dragon. Just attack the ancient coffin with all your might." If they open the ancient coffin, there must be something incredible inside. It might be an immortal. These people's eyes flickered, and they moved away from the true dragon and landed on the ancient bronze coffin. Gu Fei said, "Okay." In the next moment, everyone attacked together. The void mirror bloomed with radiance and extreme power. They attacked the ancient bronze coffin. With a clang, the 9 heavens and 10 lands shattered. The people outside Mount Eternal all prostrated on the ground. What kind of scene was that? It was as if the god of thunder had descended. Mount Eternal had also undergone some changes, as a terrifying aura emanated from it. There was even a low roar that made people's hair stand on end. The great saint's expressions changed. Damn it, what kind of secret was inside? They didn't know. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, the surroundings darkened, and they couldn't see their own fingers. There was a terrifying aura. It surged towards them. With a whoosh, everyone's blood boiled. Not good, someone was attacking. Who was it? The void bloomed with radiance, and the extreme weapons swept across. The entire Mount Eternal had been completely plunged into darkness. Everyone could only vaguely see black shadows attacking them, and there was more than one. They were attacking from all directions. Not good, everyone was terrified. Gu Fei also frowned. They didn't have many resources left, and they couldn't control the void mirror for a long time. So, they used all their power to attack the ancient bronze coffin. Under the attack of the extreme weapons, the ancient bronze coffin shook violently. However, it didn't break. Moreover, Gu Fei couldn't attack anymore. The surrounding black shadows were very terrifying, and they were dangerous to them. He could only use the void mirror to defend. When Gu Feng saw this scene, he said, "Old ancestor, not good. There isn't much energy left." Gu Fei gritted his teeth and retreated. The others were unwilling. But what could they do? Not to mention the ancient bronze coffin. Even the black mist was extremely terrifying. If they stayed here and the energy was used up, they would definitely die. While the extreme weapons were still powerful, they quickly retreated. These people drove the void mirror and quickly left, tearing the void apart. The people outside were stunned. Even with the extreme weapons, it didn't work. They could only protect themselves. After those people outside came out, they all heaved a sigh of relief. The black mist in front gradually disappeared, and Mount Eternal returned to its tranquility. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, no one would have believed it. The scene from before was like a dream. The great saints' expressions were extremely ugly. They all returned to the Gu family to discuss the price. A great saint from the Gu family said, "It seemed that the power of the extreme weapon could indeed block Mount Eternal. It's just that we seem to be using the wrong method." Su Lai also said, "Seniors, I have an idea." As he spoke, everyone turned to look at him. Although this was a young man, he was also a top genius. In the future, he wouldn't be weaker than them. Chapter 46-76. Su Lai took a deep breath. Legend. The one buried in the ancient bronze temple might be an immortal, an existence that transcended everything. Isn't it disrespectful for us to attack directly? I think it might be an immortal punishing us. Then what can you do? Gu Feng frowned. Su Lai said, "It seems that we have to offer a sacrifice first to express our respect. We open the ancient bronze coffin just to see the immortal's glory." "Yes, that's right." Another great sage nodded. "Go, prepare the best sacrifice for me." Gu Fei also stood up and said, hoping that everyone could provide strength again. They had already used up the last time. Those great sages had ugly expressions, but they still nodded. "Okay, no problem. We'll prepare now." Everyone went back and mobilized all their strength to prepare. It was either to collect resources or to collect sacrifices. They were going to enter Mount Eternal again. In the darkness, Lin Xian opened his eyes. His soul felt like it was about to split apart. In the next moment, he felt a powerful force enveloping him. He was shocked. What was going on? What happened? Where was this place? There were many questions in his mind. He slowly calmed down and began to observe. His surroundings were pitch black. He couldn't tell where he was. Suddenly, he remembered that he was placed in the ancient bronze coffin by Black Mountain. He found a terrifying black jar and then his soul. It was swallowed by the black jar. Now he had already fallen. Was he in the underworld? No, he shouldn't have fallen yet. Lin Xian could feel that his soul was still there, and it was much stronger than before. This was simply unimaginable. Now, even a late-stage holy king couldn't compare to his soul. What was going on? It was definitely not so terrifying before. Could it be because of that black jar? Lin Xian remembered that after his soul was swallowed, it was crushed. Then it healed and was crushed again. Perhaps this was the effect of countless tempering. Why did he wake up? Logically speaking, he had already fallen into a cycle. He carefully recalled that the ancient bronze coffin seemed to be shaking violently. Was someone opening the ancient bronze coffin? Forget it. He had to find a way to return to his body. His soul began to spread in all directions. The next moment, he felt that his surroundings were no longer so dark and he could move. In fact, he even saw a body lying there. What's going on? Wasn't this his physique? He could see it. Did he come out? No, he was still inside the black jar. He saw it through the jar. Could it be that this jar had already been recognized and was under his control? Thinking of this, Lin Xian was overjoyed. This black jar was incomparably mysterious. Perhaps this was the opportunity that Black Mountain was talking about. He had also paid a huge price to obtain it. However, it was not easy for him to leave the black jar. He felt that his current strength was not enough. It seemed that he had to think of another way. Lin Xian wasn't in a hurry. Now that his soul had been greatly improved, he was very happy. In his opinion, there would always be a way. It was better to wait patiently for now. In fact, it was the attack of the extreme weapon that had awakened Lin Xian from his slumber. Those from the Gu family, Longevity Hall, and Fire God Palace gathered again. It could be said that they had gone crazy in order to find offerings and resources. Finally, they found them as quickly as possible and were ready to strike again. At this moment, countless powerhouses and great saints had gathered outside Mount Eternal. Those people were similar to before, but this time they were more prepared. They had to go in. Gu Fei took a deep breath, and the other great saints nodded solemnly. The void mirror rose into the air and forcefully broke through the void, flying forward. Not long after, the crowd arrived in front of the ancient bronze coffin. This time, with their previous experience, they did not act rashly. Instead, they were careful. Gu Fei stood in the void and said coldly as he took out the offerings. The people around him took out their storage rings and took out many things from them. There was an ancient altar, a jade table, a stone bench, and many other offerings. These were all extremely precious treasures of heaven and earth. They were spiritual springs condensed from the 9 heavens. On Mount Tempest, there were spiritual herbs that were tens of thousands of years old and all kinds of rare treasures. At this moment, they were all taken out. In their opinion, these things would not disappear, so they took out the best. It showed their sincerity. Perhaps then, Immortal would not attack them. In the ancient bronze coffin, Lin Xian opened his eyes again. What a terrifying power! He felt a strong sense of danger. They had already entered the ancient bronze coffin. What was it? This time he used the black jar to reach out his soul and look outside. Finally, he saw clearly. There were so many people, and there was more than one great saint. What was going on? Were they from the Z Mansion and the clan of the ancients? His expression was ugly. Damn it! The great saints of these clans had returned and wanted to attack him by force? If that was the case, then he was in danger. He wondered how Black Mountain was doing. But soon he realized that it was not the case. They were not from the Z Mansion, the Foam Clan, or the Golden Crow Clan, but some other people. These people were also extremely terrifying. Who were they? He looked carefully. Then he was extremely shocked. He saw a familiar figure in the crowd behind him. Gu Feng. The other party was also here. Then, the people in front of him should be from the Gu clan. Those who were with the Jia clan were either from the Great Sects or the clan of the Ancients. What were these people here for? This was especially true of the mirror above them, which caused him to feel apprehensive. It definitely surpassed all the weapons. Could it be the Gu clan's extreme weapon? Lin Xian was stunned. Could it be that these people wanted to use extreme weapons to attack him? His face was about to turn green. But soon he was stunned because he found that the people outside had placed offerings. Then, they respectfully began to worship the bronze coffin. An old man clad in battle armor walked out and spoke in a clear voice. A supreme existence that was in deep slumber. Please forgive us for being rude. We don't want to disturb you, but we really want to take a look. Please forgive our recklessness, Supreme Immortal. After saying that, they began to kowtow 3 times and kowtow 9 times. Heavens, what was going on? These people were kowtowing to him. Lin Xian was surprised. Soon he understood. These people must have thought that there was a group of immortals buried in the ancient bronze coffin. That was why they were so respectful. He was also shocked. What was buried in the ancient bronze coffin in the past? One had to know that those people outside were not fools. They were the most terrifying group of people. These people must know some ancient secrets, which was why they were so respectful. It seemed that the ancient coffin was indeed not simple. The heavenly court also had endless secrets. Chapter 46:77. However, that was not what he needed to focus on now. What he needed to focus on was the offerings in front of him. Those were all top-notch heavenly treasures. The old herbs among them were not inferior to the ones he had risked his life to snatch. Lin Xian felt that he had to think of a way to get those things. First of all, it would be a waste not to take what these people offered. He needed these powers very much now, but how to get them was still a problem. At this moment, the black jar shook. Lin Xian was surprised. What was the use of this thing? Now that he had gained the recognition of the black jar, he could use it. His soul power quickly spread out, and the black jar emitted a black light. The next moment, a vortex appeared outside the ancient bronze coffin. Some of the great sages kowtowed 3 times and 9 times, extremely respectful. But at this moment, a vortex suddenly appeared in front of them, sucking in the offerings they had placed. All of them were swallowed. What was going on? These great sages raised their heads in shock. Someone shouted angrily, "Do you want to die? Who dares to steal our things? Shut up!" The Grand Elder of the Immortal Hall snorted coldly. "Can't you see that that thing has entered the ancient bronze coffin in front of us? That's because the immortals are using our offerings. We have been recognized by the immortals." After saying that, he knelt on the ground even more respectfully. The others were also shocked, and they all looked around. As expected, the vortex swallowed the offerings and floated into the ancient bronze coffin. Everyone gasped. The eyelids of the great sages of the Gu family twitched. Could it be that there was really an immortal buried inside? Thinking of this, they also prostrated on the ground and shouted respectfully, "Immortals above, please protect us." Inside the ancient coffin, many heavenly treasures appeared in front of Lin Xian. Each of them was a heaven-defying existence. Any one of them would make a great sage jealous. Lin Xian was stunned. This was the credit of the black jar. It was too unbelievable. This thing seemed to be able to devour everything. Very well, he began to use it. He brought the spiritual spring formed by the stars of the 9 heavens into the jar. His soul began to return with the power of the spirit spring. When his soul left the black jar and entered his body, Lin Xian couldn't help but want to roar. "I'm finally back. It hasn't been easy." He had also used up all of the spiritual spring water. Lin Xian didn't mind. With a wave of his hand, he collected all the treasures. He consumed it himself and gave it to the great dragon's sword spirit. If these things were taken out and discovered by those great sages, they would definitely want them back. It was better to consume it first. These things were all unique treasures of heaven and earth. Lin Xian's physique and great dragon sword spirit consumed a lot of energy. Golden Crow, Hao, Wind Phoenix, and the others had broken through, but Leaf, Dowdenier, and Light hadn't. It could be seen. The ancient barren body was indeed terrifying. Lin Xian's divine body was no weaker than a sacred body, and with the addition of the great dragon sword soul, he needed even more power. After swallowing these treasures, Lin Xian felt the power in his body surging. He felt as if he was about to break through. He might even break through to the middle stage of the Holy King realm. Lin Xian suppressed his breakthrough. He knew that he was still shrouded by the heavenly punishment. If one were to break through in an ordinary place, they would be attacked by the heavenly punishment. He had to find a place with a great emperor. Let's think about how to leave the ancient coffin first. Lin Xian opened the sky with his palms. He hit the ancient coffin. He found that with his strength, it was difficult to open it. At this moment, the black jar flew over and floated. Lin Xian thought that it should be possible to use this thing. He poured his power into the jar. The black jar emitted a black light and created a black vortex. The ancient bronze coffin shook and opened. Outside, those people knelt respectfully. After waiting for a while, they found that nothing happened. They were all stunned. Was there an immortal inside? Just as they were wondering, the ancient bronze coffin in front of them let out a loud bang. Everyone looked up and found that the ancient bronze coffin slowly opened. A figure sat up. There was really someone. These people became excited again and looked carefully. So young. Was this an immortal? They saw a young man sitting up. Then he stood up from inside. They looked around curiously. Greetings to the exalted immortal. These people began to kneel. Lin Xian looked around and felt a terrifying aura. He was shocked. What was this place? Why did it have such a terrifying aura? When he saw that the great sages in front of him were kneeling to him, his eyelids twitched. Did these guys think that he was an immortal? This was good too. He didn't have to explain. If the other party knew that he was just an ordinary lesser sacred king, he would probably be captured. She would immediately conduct research. When that time came, her secret would be exposed. Are you living beings from the lower realm? Lin Xian asked indifferently. A hint of cold arrogance appeared in his eyes, as if he didn't put the common people in his eyes. Living beings from the lower realm? The great sages were shocked. Was he talking about them? Perhaps in the eyes of the exalted immortal, they, the great sages, were similar to ants. They hurriedly said, "That's right, we are the native living beings of this world. Exalted immortal has descended. We came to pay our respects just to see your immortal appearance." "Raise your heads," Lin Xian said indifferently. "Thank you, exalted immortal." The great sages below were so excited that they were like children. They all raised their heads and carefully visualized. Gu Feng also raised his head, wanting to see what the legendary immortal looked like. But in the next moment, his eyes almost fell out. Damn, how could it be him? He jumped to his feet. What was going on? The others frowned as they looked at each other. Gu Feng was too bold, wasn't he? How dare he be disrespectful to an exalted immortal? The great sages of the Gu family also frowned. Feng! Or couldn't be rude and quickly knelt down. Gu Feng almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Kneeling to the other party? What a joke! But the current situation was that those great sages were all kneeling, and he had also knelt to the other party before. This made him go crazy with anger. He said, "Ancestor, he's not an exalted immortal at all. His name is Lin Xian. He's just an ordinary genius." What? The people of the Gu family were stunned. The other great sages were also in an uproar. Gu Feng knew this person? Gu Feng said, "That's right. He's Lin Xian from the buried emperor planet. He's not an immortal at all." The great sages' faces instantly darkened. Did they just kneel to a young junior? What a joke! The great sages of the Gu family had cold killing intent in their eyes. They had to tear the other party into pieces. How dare he lie to them? Lin Xian also frowned. This Gu Feng was really a bad person. He sneered and said indifferently, "It seems that you ants from the lower realm, you're really tired of living." He looked at Gu Feng and said coldly, "You said that I'm an ordinary person? Are you sure that an ordinary person can come out of here?" Gu Feng snorted coldly. "Kid, don't pretend to be mysterious. If you're really an immortal, then take out your immortal technique." The others also looked up. Yes, immortals should be far stronger than them, but why? Why couldn't the other party sense a strong aura? Chapter 4678. I came to the lower realm and suffered some injuries. I haven't recovered yet. Are you doubting me? If you're not convinced, come forward and fight. The faces of the surrounding great sages flickered. Although they were shocked by the level of Yang Qi's cultivation base and power, they were still shocked. They had their doubts, but they couldn't go forward. They could stand here now because of the void mirror. If they left the void mirror, they would definitely die. And even with the void mirror, they couldn't walk to the ancient bronze coffin, because they had tried before, but there was a powerful force blocking them. But the other party could stand there now. This meant that the other party definitely had a strange energy that surpassed them. The Grand Elder of the Hall of Immortals said, "This was an immortal, but he was injured previously. Besides, immortals came from the immortal world, and there were also young people in the immortal world. You don't know anything, so don't talk nonsense. If you angered an immortal, be careful of his power." That's right. The elder of the Fire God Palace also nodded and paid his respects to the immortal. "Immortal, please give me the way to live forever." The other great sages also knelt down. Seeing that some people really knelt down, Lin Xian was shocked. These people were really greedy. They wanted to prolong their lives. And there was one more thing. He knew that it was because his appearance was too strange. Who would have thought that he could walk out of such a mysterious, ancient bronze coffin? So it wasn't impossible to scare these great sages. Gu Feng still didn't believe it. He gritted his teeth and said, "If you're an immortal, you should walk out. Walk around Mount Eternal, and I'll believe you." The great sages of the Gu family also had a piercing light in their eyes. They wanted to see this immortal. Did he really have the strength? "Immortal, please use your immortal technique and let us see." The Grand Elder of the Hall of Immortals said excitedly. The others also turned their gazes over. Lin Xian frowned. Was Mount Eternal very magical? He had never heard of it. "Okay, then I'll let you see." With that, he took a step forward, left the ancient bronze coffin, and walked forward. Everyone's hearts became nervous. Even Gu Feng clenched his fists. "Kid, keep pretending. Even great sages don't dare to enter Mount Eternal. Without the protection of the void mirror, if he went out, he would definitely die." Although Lin Xian didn't know what kind of place Mount Eternal was, he could sense the terrifying aura here. He could sense it. Therefore, he did not dare to be careless. When he came out, he brought the black jar with him. He felt that this black jar was very magical. Perhaps it could have an unexpected effect. Sure enough, the black jar exuded a mysterious aura, as if it had swallowed the indestructible Tao around it. Lin Xian left the ancient bronze coffin and walked into the distance. The people behind him watched nervously. Gu Feng was still thinking that this kid would turn into a pile of bones in an instant. However, when he saw that Lin Xian had already walked far away, he was dumbfounded. How could this be? He roared in disbelief. Lin Xian walked back and laughed coldly. "What? You still dare to question me now?" He didn't dare to do it again. The great saints shook their heads. Lin Xian looked at Gu Feng. Ancient Wind roared, "Damn it, you are." Before he could finish, he was pressed to the ground by a palm. It was Gu Fei's hand. Gu Fei said coldly, "Feng, do you still want to be presumptuous? You're getting more and more unruly." "Ancestor." Gu Feng struggled. Gu Feng said coldly, "Why aren't you kowtowing and apologizing to the exalted immortal?" "Damn it." Gu Feng gritted his teeth, unwilling to accept this. Lin Xian laughed coldly. "Kowtow and apologize? That's not enough." A hint of killing intent appeared in his eyes. The great saint of the Gu family felt his scalp go numb, and he hurriedly begged for mercy. "Exalted immortal, please spare my life. Seeing that he's a young junior and doesn't know any better, please spare my life. Please spare my life. The Gu family is willing to offer another sacrifice. Please spare my life, exalted immortal. All right, I'll take out a few stalks of immortal herbs." Hearing this, the great saint's expression turned ugly. They did not have such things. They said, "We don't have immortal herbs, but we can take out 3 stalks of herbs that are tens of thousands of years old. We can compensate them." Lin Xian said, "That's not enough. He questioned me before. Just slap him." Lin Xian knew that it was impossible for the Gu family to kill Gu Feng. He would think of a way to torture him. Gu Fei stood up and said, "I understand. He walked in front of Gu Feng and sent him flying with a slap. You're courting death. Do you think you can challenge an exalted immortal? Gu Feng's face instantly swelled like a pig's head, and all his teeth were broken. Roar! Gu Feng even felt like dying. He roared, and Gu Feng slapped him again. Gu Feng did not dare to say anything else. He lowered his head and begged for mercy. Exalted immortal, are you satisfied? After a few slaps, Gu Fei turned around and asked respectfully. Lin Xian nodded. Suddenly, a golden light appeared in his eyes. He was surprised. He had the aura of a demonic beast on him, and it was a void beast. Am I right? Gu Feng was shocked. Did he see through me in an instant? He did have a void beast on him. He had obtained it from somewhere else. It's not bad. Give it to me. Lin Xian said indifferently. Gu Feng gritted his teeth. He had no choice but to take it out under the watchful eyes of the great saints. After the void beast came out, it kept roaring. Obviously, it recognized Lin Xian. The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up. You dare to fight against me? Gu Fei went up, slapped the void beast unconscious, and handed it over respectfully. Lin Xian took it, threw it into the demonic beast pouch, and instantly sealed it. He had seen this void beast before. He had even cut off its tail. It was made into a void beast skin. He did not expect it to fall into Gu Feng's hands in the end. Now it was in his hands again. Oh, right, where is this place? Lin Xian asked. The Grand Elder of the Hall of Immortals said, This is Mount Eternal. They quickly explained the origin of Mount Eternal. Lin Xian was also surprised after hearing this. It turned out to be a land of death. It seemed that it was at least at the great emperor level. Perhaps he could break through here. He said, Wait for me outside. Yes. No one dared to resist. They could only retreat and go outside Mount Eternal. The people outside were also stunned. Did an immortal really appear? It was unbelievable. Those great saints warned the young disciples that they must be respectful and must not challenge the other party. After Gu Feng came out, he directly flew away. He did not want to stay here any longer. Otherwise, who knew how that guy would torture him? After those people left, Lin Xian walked into Mount Eternal again. He began to transcend the tribulation. He no longer suppressed his power. Soon, lightning condensed in the sky. At the same time, terrifying red lightning filled the air outside Mount Eternal. When the great saints outside saw this, they were shocked. Heavenly punishment? Could it really be an immortal? Perhaps his bloodline has surpassed this world. The heavenly Tao will not tolerate it. Everyone was worried, but not long after, they did not notice that the heavenly punishment had disappeared. Only ordinary lightning descended. This made everyone even more shocked. The Grand Elder of the Hall of Immortals said, As expected of an immortal, he has tricks up his sleeve. He can even hide the heavenly punishment. Chapter 46-79. The others were also deeply convinced of this. Fortunately, Gu Feng left in advance. Otherwise, he would definitely vomit blood. Damn it! What kind of evil method did that kid use? Why was it so strange? Lin Xian didn't know that the appearance and disappearance of Tianfa made the great sages outside more convinced. They were even more convinced that he was an immortal. At this moment, he was going through the tribulation with all his strength. Half a month later, he finally walked out successfully. The aura on his body was much stronger than before. He was now a mid-stage great sage king. His strength had undergone an earth-shattering change compared to before. The current late-stage great sage kings were no match for him at all. Lin Xian could compete with a peak great sage king. Using his many trump cards, it wouldn't be a problem to kill a peak great sage king. Thinking of this, the corners of his mouth curled up. He was really looking forward to his next breakthrough. Lin Xian guessed that when he broke through next time, he would probably be able to compete with a great sage. After Lin Xian came out, The great sages outside were still waiting respectfully. After seeing Lin Xian, their eyes lit up and they all walked up. Exalted Immortal, you're here. Exalted Immortal, please come to my Longevity Palace. I will definitely treat you well. Let's go to the Fire God Palace first. These people spoke one after another. The people from the Gu family also walked over and said, "We are a clan of the ancients. We will definitely satisfy you." Lin Xian's eyes flickered. "Everyone, don't worry. The immortal opportunity that you want will be given to you." However, he didn't go because there was an emperor weapon there. No matter how strong Lin Xian was, he wasn't a match for an extreme Dao weapon. If his identity was really discovered, he wouldn't be able to escape at all. So after thinking about it, he went to the Longevity Palace. Firstly, the Longevity Palace didn't have an extreme Dao weapon. Secondly, there was a Grand Elder. He didn't have much lifespan left. He could use the other party's heart to make them trust him more. Moreover, Lin Xian didn't plan to stay here for too long. He still had to return to Taiching Ancient City. After all, the Z Mansion was there. Previously, there were many peerless sects and clans of the ancients who wanted to kill him. There were some things that needed to be resolved. Lin Xian followed the Supreme Elder back to the Longevity Hall. The Supreme Elder was overjoyed. He was so excited that he almost fainted. He returned to the Longevity Hall. After that, the people from the Longevity Hall were also extremely shocked. They used the highest standard to welcome Lin Xian. The other remote antiquity families and peerless sects were also envious. They sent out their young disciples to pay their respects. If they could become friends, it would be a great opportunity. Therefore, they issued an order, regardless of the price. They had to stay by each other's side. No matter what the other party wanted, he had to satisfy them. After returning to the Longevity Hall, Lin Xian went into seclusion without meeting anyone. He first stabilized his cultivation before entering the Great Sage Tower to suppress the Void Beast. The Void Beast was also extremely powerful. It had reached the late stage of the Saint King realm and was about to reach the peak of the Saint King realm. Before, Lin Xian had been unable to suppress such a demonic beast. But this time, after using the black jar, his soul power had greatly increased. Therefore, he could completely control it himself. The other party had planted the seal of life and death in the other party's soul. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. With this void beast, it was equivalent to having an array formation by his side. He could teleport and hide in the void at any time. "Exalted Immortal, did you have a good rest?" An old voice came from outside. Needless to say, it was the Supreme Elder. Lin Xian frowned slightly. He had to think of a way to make this old guy cultivate in seclusion. He waved his hand and opened the door. The other party walked in respectfully and handed over some spiritual fruits and spiritual herbs. Lin Xian accepted them without hesitation. Then he said, "Go and cultivate again. If your cultivation can improve by another level, I will teach you immortal techniques." "Really? That's great. Thank you, Exalted Immortal." The Supreme Elder was extremely happy. Then Lin Xian said, "There's no need to let those old guys come. I don't have anything in common with them. Let some young people come." "Yes, Exalted Immortal, I understand." The Supreme Elder went back. He quickly found a group of young people from the Longevity Hall. Among them, Su Lai quickly rushed over. These young people were extremely excited. This was an immortal. If they were lucky, they could obtain an immortal opportunity. At the same time, the Fire God Palace, the Gu family, and other sects all sent people over. They were all young geniuses. Many of them were peerless fairies. It seemed that they planned to stay by Lin Xian's side. Lin Xian was very calm towards these fairies, which was even more shocking. As expected of an exalted immortal, he didn't care about the creatures of the lower realm. "Hello, Exalted Immortal, my name is Su Lai. If you have any instructions, just tell me directly." The tall man stood there and smiled. At this moment, another person also walked over. "Exalted Immortal, I'm from the Fire God Palace. My name is Hualing. This was a peerlessly beautiful woman. Her every move would attract the attention of everyone. Lin Xian nodded and looked at another person. That person said, "Exalted Immortal, I'm from the Gu family. My name is Gu Li." In addition, a few top geniuses also introduced themselves. Lin Xian didn't pay attention to the following people. They definitely weren't the top geniuses. However, he still let them follow him. Lin Xian was very calm. He stayed in the Longevity Hall for a while before going to the Fire God Palace. He also went to other places. The only place he didn't go was the Gu family. He wouldn't go to a family with an extreme weapon. The Gu family thought that Gu Feng had offended the other party, so they hurriedly sent over a lot of natural treasures. At the same time, they punished Gu Feng and even made him face the wall to reflect on his mistakes. In a cliff, Gu Feng stood there, unable to go out. He gritted his teeth and roared at the sky. Damn brat! He really couldn't understand. The other party was clearly from the buried Emperor star like him. How did he become an exalted immortal? Damn it, it was all because of the ancient bronze coffin. How did the other party hide in the ancient bronze coffin? He really couldn't understand. Lin Xian was quite satisfied with his life here. Not only did he have enough resources, but Lin Xian was also able to see the top cultivation techniques of these sections. For example, the Longevity Hall had a cultivation technique called the Longevity Technique. Lin Xian found that it was very similar to the Longevity Technique. Could it be that the art of longevity was from the Hall of Longevity? Lin Xian was surprised and went to ask some people from the Longevity Hall. Of course, he was beating around the bush. In the end, he found that it might really be from the Longevity Hall. However, it wasn't from the modern era. It might be a cultivation technique from the Longevity Hall in the ancient era. Later, it was lost. The other cultivation techniques were passed down, but the longevity technique was in Lin Xian's hands. After Lin Xian finished reading the Longevity Hall's techniques, he had a deeper understanding of the longevity technique. At the same time, he also understood that the greatest advantage of the Longevity Hall was their powerful recovery ability. At the same time, their lifespan was also longer than others. This was also a huge advantage. Chapter 4680. The Fire God Palace had a technique called the Fire God's Thunderclap Palm. Lin Xian was very interested in it and studied it for a while. As for the Gu family, they didn't give him any techniques or inheritance, only some spiritual herbs and spiritual fruits. He also knew that the inheritance of the great emperor's family would never be passed to outsiders. The Purple Mansion had never given up looking for the true dragon and the ancient bronze coffin. They wouldn't allow the heavenly court to reopen. They had been secretly sending people to investigate. Finally, they received some news that something seemed to have happened at Mount Eternal. Therefore, they sent people to investigate. In the sky, a spirit boat flew quickly. A few figures walked out from inside. The one in the lead was an old man who swept his gaze across the area. He looked at Mount Eternal in the distance, his eyes shining. He was going to visit the surrounding sects and ask about it. He really found a problem. Had an immortal appeared? How was this possible? The people from the Purple Mansion were shocked. They decided to meet this immortal. One had to know that the Purple Mansion had always been known to have an immortal fate. Now that an immortal had appeared, how could they not be shocked? Finally, he came to the Palace of Longevity and asked for an audience. "I'm here to see an immortal." Those people were also surprised when they learned that the other party was from the Purple Mansion. Naturally, they had heard of this ancient sect. They also learned that it had reopened recently. They didn't expect that an expert from the Purple Mansion would come here. The people from the Palace of Longevity respectfully invited him in. The people from the Z government were very arrogant. The leader was an old man. Even in front of the people from the Palace of Longevity, they were high and mighty. The Palace of Longevity was a great sect, and the Purple Mansion was above the great sects in the past. Therefore, they had always been arrogant. After arriving, he said, "I want to see that immortal." From his words, it seemed that he didn't have much respect for his ancestors. Soon he was invited to a mountain peak and saw a group of young people surrounding him. They surrounded a man, and it was extremely lively. The people from the Purple Mansion walked up and said they heard that an immortal had come from Mount Eternal. They didn't know who it was. The people in front of them all turned their heads and frowned. Who was this guy? Why was he so arrogant? If he wanted to see an immortal, he had to kneel on the ground for 3 days and 3 nights. Let's see if our immortal has time. The old man from the Purple Mansion frowned. Was this a joke? Were there really immortals in this world? To be honest, although they claimed to have immortal fate, they were still very doubtful. Are there immortals? Even if there was, it couldn't be someone from Mount Eternal. Therefore, they did not believe this immortal at all. Didn't you hear what I said? The elder of the Purple Mansion coldly snorted. How dare you? Hualingyu of the Fire God Palace snorted. Who do you think you are? How dare you make a fuss here? Get out. The faces of the people from the Z government became extremely ugly. It had always been others who respected them. Since when had anyone dared to scold them? We're from the Violet Palace. A young man walked out and said coldly, Purple Mansion. Hualing. And the others frowned. They had naturally heard of it. Who would have thought that it would be the other party? At that moment, an indifferent voice came from the front. So what if he was in the Purple Palace realm? You dare to be disrespectful to this immortal? He was courting death. The exalted immortal has spoken. Hurry up and scram. Su Lai took a step forward. This is the territory of the Longevity Hall, not a place where the Purple Mansion can behave atrociously. The young man was so angry that he vomited blood. However, the old man stopped him. He then said, We're not here to cause trouble. We're really here to see the immortal. Perhaps we were disrespectful before, but now we're respectfully asking to see the immortal. Humph, that's more like it. Su Lai snorted coldly and said, Come over. He waved his hand. The people from the Purple Mansion all walked over. They were filled with endless curiosity. In the next moment, they saw a man sitting in front of them. He was surrounded by endless heavenly materials and earthly treasures. At this moment, the man's body was blooming with multicolored light. It was obvious that he had consumed too many heavenly materials and earthly treasures. The energy had not been completely dissolved. How extravagant! When the people from the Purple Mansion saw this scene, their eyelids twitched wildly. Even if they had an ancient inheritance, they did not receive such treatment. When they saw the man's real face, they were stunned. One of the elders jumped to his feet. Damn brat! It's you! How can you be an immortal? He was really shocked. They had come here to look for him, even though they had never seen him before. Although they had not seen him before, they had seen his portrait countless times. At this moment, after seeing him, they instantly recognized him. Damn it, he's just an ordinary Sage King. When did he become an immortal? Lin Xian looked at the other party and sneered. He was disrespectful to me. Who killed him? I'll teach him immortal techniques in the future. After hearing this, the eyes of the surrounding people turned red. Su Lai took a step forward and said, Exalted immortal, I'll kill him. A great longevity palm slapped forward, bringing with it an incomparably vast power. It was endless. Boom! The old man was someone from the older generation. Thus, he was able to shatter the great longevity palm with a punch. Su Lai's blood boiled. Then he roared, How dare you behave so atrociously in my territory? Men! With a roar, an elder rushed over from afar. Hualing also said, Everyone, let's attack together. Hundreds of young geniuses had gathered around them, and they were fighting one-on-one. They might not be a match for the elders, but at this moment, how could the elder block them all together? He only brought 3 people with him. No matter how strong they were, they could not withstand the attacks of hundreds of geniuses. In an instant, they roared miserably. Damn it, how dare you attack us? The Purple Mansion sect will not let you off. How dare you threaten us? Do you believe that we can send you to hell now? Su Lai sneered and attacked even more fiercely. Not long after, the 4 people from the Purple Mansion sect were seriously injured. They were pressed to the ground. Exalted Immortal, how should we deal with these people? Su Lai, Hualing, and the others all looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian walked over and sneered. He then took the storage rings of the people around him. Then he said, "Cripple their cultivation bases. Leave the rest to me. I'll deal with them properly." "Damn kid, how dare you?" The elders of the Purple Mansion sect roared. But then they were terrified. Their cultivation bases were really crippled. No, they were desperate. Without their cultivation bases, they were no different from ants in front of Su Lai. Lin Xian waved his hand and put all of them away. He sent his soul into the 4 storage rings and then threw them into the void. "Why don't you divide these things among yourselves?" Although the things inside were not bad, Lin Xian did not take them seriously. Compared to the treasures he had obtained so far, they were not worth mentioning. "There's an ancient, divine power inside. Su Lai, I'll give it to you." "Really?" Su Lai's eyes lit up. "Thank you, exalted immortal." Although he did not obtain an immortal technique, he did obtain an ancient cultivation method. That was also very exciting. Chapter 4681. Sure enough, Hualing, Guli, and the others' eyes turned red. Their faces were also full of anticipation. They hurriedly checked their storage rings. Then they found another secret technique. These people decided to cultivate together. They looked at Lin Xian with infinite gratitude. "Thank you, exalted immortal." At this moment, they really regarded Lin Xian as an immortal. Lin Xian merely smiled in response and did not seem to mind at all. He directly gave away the 2 secret techniques because it was easier for him to obtain them. The 4 people from the Purple Mansion sect were all in his hands, and their cultivations had been destroyed. When the time came, he would directly collect their souls. What kind of divine power could he not get? At night, after Lin Xian returned, he entered the Grand Sage Tower. Looking at the 4 figures, the corner of his mouth raised into a smile. The 4 people were terrified. "Damn it, what do you want to do?" They were already in despair. The elder roared, "Kid, kill me if you have the guts." "I'm afraid it won't be easy for you to die. Your Purple Mansion sect has tried to kill me time and time again. Do you think I let you go so easily? Damn it, you're really that guy." The elder roared. "What method did you use? Lying to these people?" Lin Xian snorted coldly. "You're still so curious when you're about to die? Then you can go to hell and ask. But before that, I have a few questions to ask you. The spider lily is the totem of your Purple Mansion sect, right? How many people have you used it to seal?" Hearing this, Elder Zhang's pupils constricted. "Damn kid, how did you know about this? Could it be that you've been sealed? You're an abandoned immortal." He roared crazily. "That's right, you're right. I was indeed sealed before, so even if you don't come looking for me, I won't let you go. One day, I'll personally destroy your Purple Mansion sect." The elder of the Purple Mansion sect was in despair. Damn it, the other party was actually an abandoned immortal. But how did he cultivate to become a Sage King? It was too unbelievable. One had to know that after being sealed by the spider lily, it was impossible for him to cultivate. Even if he could cultivate against the heavens, he would at most be a Sage King. It was impossible for him to break through to become a Sage King. However, the other party had already made a breakthrough to Sage King Intermediate Stage. It was unbelievable. At the same time, he began to worry about Zifu. With such a peerless genius around, once he broke through to become a great sage or even advanced further, he would definitely be able to take a huge step forward. If that was the case, then the Purple Palace would really be destroyed. Lin Xian said indifferently, Tell me the origin and secrets of your Zifu. Don't even think about it. The old man gritted his teeth. Lin Xian sneered. Looks like you guys don't know what's good for you. Since that's the case, I'll do it myself. Activating his heavenly secret divine eyes, his golden gaze enveloped these people. He first looked at the two young men, perform a soul search. The two of them quickly fell to the ground, their souls shattered. Lin Xian frowned. The two of them didn't know much. Moreover, in their minds, there were many things that they didn't know. There was a restriction. The core content was undetectable. He then attacked the remaining people. As expected, his expression turned cold. Apart from obtaining some cultivation techniques, he couldn't obtain any other secrets. However, Lin Xian didn't mind. One day, he would personally attack the Zifu Palace. At that time, he would only know everything. He obtained 2 types of martial arts from the old man. Lin Xian didn't cultivate them because he felt that they weren't suitable for him. However, if he had them in the future, he might be able to teach them to others. Next, Lin Xian took out the black jar. He poured his soul power into it. The black jar flew up and circled around him like a fairy. Then he summoned the void beast and patted it. The void beast unleashed a terrifying power of the void as it teleported Lin Xian away. In the next moment, they left the longevity hall and arrived outside. The vast mountains were incomparably dark. Lin Xian's eyes were burning with golden flames. It was as if he was looking at a god, sweeping through everything. A smile appeared on his face as he found it. This time, he wanted to test the true power of the black jar. Roar! That was a hell demonic lion. It was extremely terrifying. Its body was covered in black lightning. Its cultivation had reached the late-stage Sage King realm. With a roar, the mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. It looked at Lin Xian with mockery in its eyes. Stupid ant. You think you can challenge me, a saint? Go to hell. The black claws slammed down with tens of thousands of lightning bolts, destroying everything. Lin Xian stood there and didn't make a move. He waved his hand and the black jar rushed forward. You're just a broken jar and you dare to go against me? The hell demonic lion sneered. Boom! Soon it roared. The black jar was like a sharp sword. It directly pierced through its huge claws, causing them to shatter into pieces. Damn it! What is that? It's too terrifying. Is it a terrifying sage artifact? No wonder this human kid dares to challenge me. He quickly retreated and shouted coldly, Hellstorm! With a roar, endless lightning bolts flew out and turned into a tornado that swept forward. This was a peerless divine ability that was related to his bloodline. So what if his opponent's weapon was powerful? Black lightning bolts fell between heaven and earth, piercing through everything. Lin Xian formed a seal with his palm and slammed it on top of the black jar. The black jar shook and endless black light flew out, turning into a terrifying vortex. It swallowed the sky and the earth, swallowing all the lightning bolts in the sky. How is that possible? The hell demonic lion was terrified. The black jar was too evil. He turned around and fled. Lin Xian sneered. You want to escape now? It's too late. He activated the black jar again, and the black light enveloped the hell demonic lion. The hell demonic lion felt a terrifying, imprisoning force that wanted to swallow him. He roared crazily and knelt on the ground to beg for mercy. Senior, please spare me. I didn't recognize Mount Tai. Please let me go. I have a treasure. I want to give it to you. Please spare my life. Treasure? Lin Xian asked. What treasure is it? He was also curious. The hell demonic lion protruded something. It was a box. He said that the treasure was inside. Lin Xian waved his hand and a sword light split the box open. He found a black stone inside. There was a talisman on it. What treasure is this? He frowned. He didn't feel any terrifying aura. The hell demonic lion said that although this stone looked ordinary, it was something from Mount Eternal. It had the Tao of immortality. It was something from Mount Eternal. Lin Xian was surprised. He now had some understanding of it. A great sage would instantly turn into a skeleton. It could be said that it was very terrifying. He sneered. "You're lying. How can you withstand the power of Mount Eternal?" The hell demonic lion shook his head. It's true. The reason why he didn't emit a terrifying aura now was because of the talisman. That talisman must have been left behind by a peerless Almighty. I just got it by chance. When I got it, the talisman was on it. I opened it once and almost lost half my life, so I sealed it again. It's so magical. Lin Xian was surprised. He waved his hand and grabbed the black stone. Then he tore off the talisman on it. No. When the hell demonic lion saw this, it retreated in horror. Is this guy crazy? Even if he dies, he shouldn't be like this. Chapter 4682. Soon he was stunned. He found that Lin Xian was there unharmed. How was this possible? He could actually block the undying Tao. Who the hell was this? The hell demonic lion felt that he had kicked an iron plate. He directly crawled on the ground. He did not dare to resist. Lin Xian used the black jar to swallow this terrifying aura. The corners of his mouth curled up. It was indeed the undying Tao. He stuck the talisman paper on it again. That terrifying aura disappeared. This talisman paper was really magical. It carried an extremely strong sealing power. Lin Xian realized that compared to the stone, the talisman paper was more precious. It was an unexpected gain. He put it away in satisfaction and looked at the hell demonic lion. "All right, you can go. Don't let me see you again." Anyway, this time, he was only here to test the power of the black magic jar. Late stage Saint Kings were no match for it. He had to find a peak stage Saint King demonic beast. Lin Xian continued to fly in the mountains and finally found another peak stage Saint King demonic beast. He used the black jar to fight it. That peak stage Saint King demonic beast was no match for him at all. Lin Xian's mouth curled up into a smile. Great, it seemed that the power of this black jar, it was still above his imagination. Next, Lin Xian used the void beast again to teleport back. In the following days, he spent the day with these genius disciples of the great sections. At night, he would come out alone in the mountains and cultivate the black jar. He was getting more and more proficient. However, on this day a crisis came. Between heaven and earth, for figures soared into the sky and charged towards him from all directions. The four of them were all very terrifying. They were all late-stage Saint Kings. There was even a peak-stage Saint King expert among them. That person held a long spear, and with a thrust of the spear it was like a giant dragon rushing forward. The terrifying aura made one's scalp tingle. Lin Xian's figure swayed and dodged the attacks of the three people. Facing this spear, he activated the black jar. It met the attack head-on. There was a boom. The two collided. The black jar emitted a terrifying aura. It blasted away the terrifying energy. That person was terrified. He did not expect this weapon to be so strange. At this moment, Lin Xian's sword attacked. The biting cold sword light swept across the surroundings. Boom! Boom! The three late-stage Saint Kings tried to dodge, but one of them was cut in half. The other two were injured and vomited blood. They were shocked. How could this guy be so strong? Whoa! A peak holy king waved his hand, and a red net fell from the sky, directly enveloping Lin Xian. They all laughed out loud. Lin Xian could sense that this red net was not ordinary. It was a terrifying weapon, a power that could seal him. He snorted coldly, and a dragon-shaped sword light rushed out of his body, slashing in all directions. With a boom, the red net was split into two halves. How could this be? The remaining few people were stunned. How did he manage to escape? No matter who you are, today all of you will die. Lin Xian coldly snorted and attacked. Damn it, stop holding back and attack with all your might. Those people roared furiously. Great, desolate heaven, splitting hand. The terrifying great rift charged toward him. This was an absolute art. On the other side, the phantom of a dragon elephant appeared and attacked him again. The last old man came down from the sky with the power of a flood dragon. Lin Xian frowned. It was actually someone from the Purple Mansion. Whoa! He summoned the three-eyed vermilion bird. He attacked the Peak Holy King. At the same time, the heaven-devouring demonic pot attacked one of them, while he attacked the other. Great, desolate sky, splitting palm. He also used the same absolute art and clashed with the other party. Both of them used the same absolute art. But Lin Xian was obviously more terrifying. He had the power of the great dragon, Sword Soul. The other party's attack was torn apart. His face was full of shock. How could this be? He had practiced the great, desolate sky, splitting palm for so many years. How could he not be stronger than Lin Xian? In the next moment, another attack came. The great, desolate sky, splitting palm, tore his body into pieces. His soul wanted to escape, but it was directly ignited by the fire of reincarnation. He let out a painful roar, but in the end his soul was destroyed. The other person was also like a duck in a black jar, the terrifying whirlpool. It directly swallowed his soul and continuously destroyed it. Lin Xian controlled it and did not kill the other party's soul. This person knew how to use the dragon elephant finger. He wanted to obtain this absolute art. When the Peak Holy King saw this scene, his expression changed drastically. No wonder their people had died. They actually had such an expert. They had to hurry back and inform the sect that this kid was not dead and had become abnormally terrifying. The three-eyed vermilion bird roared and attacked. At the same time, Lin Xian released the purple qilin. Two peak holy beasts. The elder's face instantly darkened. In the end, his soul was also destroyed. Lin Xian kept these people's storage rings and corpses. He used the hand of creation to refine them into power and then kept them. After entering the Great Sage Tower, Lin Xian began to refine the soul of that person. That person's soul was continuously being crushed by the black millstone, hovering between life and death. He roared crazily, "Kill me! Give me a quick death!" Lin Xian said coldly, "Give me the dragon elephant finger, and I'll give you a quick death." In the end, Lin Xian obtained the cultivation method of the dragon elephant finger. This was also a peerless divine power. After killing that person's soul, Lin Xian stood up with a cold expression. Damn the Purple Mansion. They actually sent people to kill him again. It seemed that the Purple Mansion did not give up. They should know that these people had died. They would appear in front of even more people. When they came, it would not be a Peak Holy King. It would be that simple. Lin Xian felt that he had to leave this place quickly. He went back to prepare and cultivate the dragon elephant finger at the same time. After 10 days, he requested to leave. The Longevity Hall and the other sects were all shocked. "Exalted Immortal, are you leaving? Is it because we did not treat you well?" They were very anxious. They definitely could not let this immortal opportunity go. Lin Xian shook his head and said, "No, it's not your problem. I'm very interested in this world. I heard that there is a very mysterious Taiqing ancient city. I'm going to take a look." Then his face darkened and he asked, "Why? Do you want to imprison me?" "No." Those people's expressions changed drastically and they all shook their heads. "How would we dare to control the exalted immortal? That's good." Lin Xian snorted coldly. "I've made up my mind. I can take them with me." "Really? That's great." Those sects all heaved a sigh of relief. Although the other party was not here, he could take these young people with him. This was also the benefit of not being injured. Soon they began to move. They sat on a few huge chariots and quickly left. Back then, there were hundreds of geniuses who returned to Lin Xian's side. When Lin Xian left, he did not take so many with him. He only took 50 of them. Among them, Su Lai, Hualing, and Guli were all there. In addition, those people were also top-notch experts. They were extremely excited. If they followed Lin Xian, they might be able to obtain the immortal opportunity. They could become flying immortals. In the Purple Mansion, these people's faces were cold as they gritted their teeth. They sent 2 experts to Mount Eternal to investigate the situation. In the end, they were all destroyed. Damn it! Who did this to him? Was it the Peerless sect over there? Chapter 46, 83. Damn it! Did they really not put the Purple Mansion in their eyes? They were preparing to send a 3rd batch of experts. This time, there were 10 times more people than before. They wanted to see who dared to touch their Purple Mansion. But they didn't know that the person they were looking for had already arrived at Taiching Ancient City. Taiching Ancient City was incomparably mysterious. It had existed since ancient times and had endless secrets. Even the Heavenly Court and Purple Mansion were here. Of course, Lin Xian felt that the ruins of the Heavenly Court were just one of the spaces. There must be such spaces in other places. But he didn't know. That guy from Black Mountain should know. Looking at the huge ancient city in front of him, Lin Xian's eyes flickered. I wonder how that guy from Black Mountain is doing? He entered the ancient bronze coffin. That guy from Black Mountain was holding the sky lantern. He wasn't hunted down by the people from the Purple Mansion, right? Beside him, Su Lai, Hualing, Guli, and the others were also amazed. Is this the ancient city? It's really the same as the legends. Yes, it's my first time here. Lin Xian said. Haven't you been here before? Hualing shook her head. This world is too vast. We only move in the area around Mount Eternal. There are many ancient cities there. As for Taiching Ancient City, it was quite a distance away from Mount Eternal, so we usually don't come here. Lin Xian understood. Every sect had their own area, especially these geniuses. Under normal circumstances, they wouldn't leave. Unless there was a special event or some important occasion, endless geniuses would gather. Let's go in. Lin Xian waved his hand and led his people into Taiching Ancient City. When he returned again, Lin Xian was filled with emotion. The first time he came, he was filled with curiosity. This time, there was a biting cold light in his eyes. Some people had to be clear. After entering, Su Lai and the others were also amazed. As expected of Primeval City, it was really strong. Not only was it vast, but there were even some places with a mysterious aura. It was even more terrifying than their longevity hall. The legendary Purple Mansion should be here. Some people were surprised. Have you heard of immortals? Purple Mansion was related to immortals. Lin Xian sneered. Is that so? But I was assassinated by them. What? Su Lai, Hualinger, and the others were stupefied. When did this happen? How could they not know? Lin Xian said coldly. That was when I went out alone and walked in the mountains. It was someone from the Purple Mansion who came to kill me. In the end, I killed him. Acting recklessly, he actually dared to attack an ascendant immortal. So what if they were Zifu disciples? Kill them. Su Lai shouted coldly. Hualing nodded. That's right. They dared to offend an ascendant immortal. Even if he offended us, we'll destroy him together. Lin Xian brought 50 geniuses with him this time, which could be considered a super strong force. However, he was still unable to contend against a true Zifu disciple. After all, it was an ancient sect. However, it was good for dealing with lone wolves. It was indeed enough. Before Lin Xian could say anything, the 50 people had already started discussing among themselves. With Su Lai, Hualinger, and Guli as the representatives, they spoke. Don't worry, Ascendant Immortal. We'll plan this matter. Our strength may not be enough to shake an ancient sect, but we won't let them have their way either. We'll go and find out. These people moved quickly. Lin Xian was stunned. Oh my God. It seemed like the identity of an Ascendant Immortal was very important. It was more important than he had imagined. These people were crazy about becoming an immortal. He had to admit that these top geniuses were really resourceful. In 3 days, they found out the answer. There was a descendant of the Purple Mansion called Ruashi. She was going to hold a banquet soon. She invited some geniuses. We can make a move on this descendant. I heard that there are several successors in the Purple Mansion, and there are many potential successors. This time, we'll make an example out of them. We'll let them know the consequences of offending an ascendant immortal. Descendant, huh? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes, and a smile appeared on his face. This was also a very important existence in the Purple Mansion. Indeed, they could ruthlessly slap the face of the Purple Mansion. When will they hold the banquet? Su Lai said, 5 days later. Hua Linger said that we can make a move on the 4th night. We'll catch them off guard. All right, let's do it. Lin Xian and the rest settled down and began to cultivate. They adjusted their strength to the peak. Ruashi, one of the descendants of the 9 great immortal mountains, specialized in the water law. The Purple Mansion nurtured these descendants for 2 reasons. Firstly, it was to strengthen their power. Secondly, it was to let these descendants act alone and recruit a group of geniuses. It would be best if they could get their hands on the cultivation techniques. As a peerless fairy, Ruashi naturally had to make a move. This time, she invited many people, all of whom were from the great sects and the clan of the ancients. Let these people kneel at her feet. When the time comes, these people's cultivation techniques would be easy to obtain. In the manner that was like a paradise on earth, Ruashi asked calmly, "How's the preparation going?" Reporting to Fairy Ruashi, "Everything is ready. We can start tomorrow." "Very good." Ruashi walked out and looked around. There were all kinds of spiritual springs in his manor. They were not in the Purple Mansion. Instead, they found a manor outside and renovated it. This made him very satisfied. There was a waterfall in front of him. Ruashi walked forward and felt it quietly. Then, with a wave of her hand, the law descended. When the people around saw it, their eyes lit up. One of the elders said, "Princess Ruashi, your comprehension of the law is getting deeper and deeper. It seems that he has already surpassed us old men." Ruashi's lips curled into a smile. She was born for the water. "Go back. I want to stay here for a while." Ruashi waved her hand, and the people around her left. She was the only one left in the entire courtyard. She stood in front of the waterfall, her eyes shining. The Tao on her body intertwined. She had to admit that she was very powerful. Now that she was a mid-stage Saint King, she could defeat a late-stage Saint King. Even if she used all her trump cards, she was confident that she could fight a peak Saint King. As a descendant, she was definitely not weak. Moreover, she was ambitious. The 9 great immortal mountains, 9 descendants. She was just one of them. She was considered average. However, she was not satisfied. She wanted to be in the top 3. Moreover, she was also under pressure. That was, the Purple Mansion had many descendants. Once their cultivation and strength were caught up, they would immediately lose their status as a descendant. At every moment, she could not relax. Now, she wanted to enter the peak Saint King stage as soon as possible. The spiritual spring around her kept spinning. Streams of spiritual energy poured into her body. At this moment, Ruashi seemed to have turned into a water god. She was very mysterious. Suddenly, she opened her eyes. Who was it? She felt a threat. The surroundings were very quiet. The sky was dark, and the clouds covered the moon. After the light dimmed, Ruashi suddenly turned around and found a figure standing behind her. That person was tall, but he was very hazy. It was unreal. "Who are you?" Ruashi was really shocked. Someone could actually come behind her, and she did not know about it. Chapter 4684. How could this be? Was it a peak elder? Other than a peak sage king, no one else would be able to do this. However, something was not right. She could not feel the peak elder's strength. Who was it? Ruashi shouted coldly. At this moment, Ruashi sensed a few figures rushing towards her. There were even more figures flashing from afar. They had all come to the courtyard. Who was it? Ruashi roared and retreated. At this moment, the figure in front of her suddenly appeared in front of her. He slapped her with his palm. Not good. The power of space. Ruashi was shocked. No wonder she did not notice him. He knew the power of space. She waved her hand, and a ball of blue water spun rapidly in front of her. The sea was boundless. It enveloped the palm. The terrifying palm passed through the water and hit Ruashi's body. Ruashi was torn into pieces. There was no blood, only endless water that flew in all directions. Water clone. The person in front of her was stunned. Ghoulie frowned. The speed of the clone was fast. No wonder he was the successor of the Z-Mansion sect. Do you think you can escape? At this moment, another sneer was heard. A gigantic palm imprint descended from the sky. It was the great longevity palm imprint, cutting through the void. Ruashi was forced out, and her face was pale. Another top-notch expert. At this moment, a ball of flame formed behind her, and a terrifying flame saber came towards her. The sound of water and fire colliding could be heard. Ruashi's path was blocked. Her face turned cold. Who was it? Angry shouts could be heard. All the people in the mansion rushed over. When they saw the mysterious people in front of the courtyard, they were furious. Who are you? Do you know who we are? We are from the Z-Mansion sect. Kneel on the ground and wait for your death. An elder shouted coldly, exuding a terrifying murderous aura. Was the Z-Mansion sect that powerful? The void in front of them split open again. A figure stood there. Under his feet, the void beast exuded the power of the void. It blocked everyone's probing. Lin Xian stood beside the void beast and waved his hand. Su Lai, Ghoulie, Hualing, and the rest rushed forward. 50 supreme experts attacked together. Their strength was terrifying. Attack! Ruashi's face turned ghastly pale. Why were there so many experts? They were the remote antiquity families and the great sects. Did they join forces to attack them? Die! The elders of the Z-Mansion sect roared. Those people rushed over, and a great battle broke out in an instant. However, they soon discovered that they were all shocked. Although they outnumbered the other party, the people who came were all top-notch geniuses. He looked young, but his strength was terrifying. Ruashi also wanted to escape, but it was useless. Lin Xian had already set up a matrix here. Everything was blocked, and no one could leave. The battle was completely one-sided. After all, the people of the Z government had never thought that anyone would dare to come. Moreover, it was the day before the martial arts tournament. These people were too audacious. The elders of the Z-Mansion sect roared. 3 figures rushed to the sky and attacked Lin Xian. Lin Xian smirked. He waved his hand, and the black jar floated beside him. It released a terrifying devouring power and swallowed the attacks of the 3 men. There was even a force that wanted to devour the souls of the 3 men. The 3 men were terrified. They wanted to retreat. Lin Xian opened and closed his hands. The great desolation, scorching heaven hand, tore the 9 heavens apart. The bodies of the 3 men were smashed into pieces. Those who were watching from afar were shocked. Damn it! How could it be? Great desolation, heaven splitting hand. Who was it? It was the supreme skill of the Z-Mansion sect. Ruashi's pupils shrank. Could it be the successor of another immortal mountain? Did they attack her? Or could it be the successor of another immortal mountain? Damn it! She did not expect them to be so despicable. She did not expect it to be Lin Xian. Lin Xian was taken away by the bronze coffin. It was a fact. No one thought that he could come back alive. And now, Lin Xian's body was covered by the power of the void beast. No one could see him clearly. The power of 50 top geniuses attacking together was terrifying. Those from the Z-Mansion sect were defeated quickly. They were heavily injured and fell to the ground. Ruashi's face was pale. She stared at Lin Xian. She gritted her teeth and asked, "Who are you?" Lin Xian walked out from the side of the void beast and stepped in the air. His figure gradually became clearer. "It's you. How could you still be alive?" When Ruashi saw Lin Xian, she was shocked. She was dumbfounded. Wasn't this guy buried in the bronze coffin? Wasn't he dead? How could he still be alive? And he had brought so many experts with him. How dare you follow the immortal? How dare you be so rude? A huge palm print appeared and slapped towards her. Ruashi's body swayed as she tried to block it. At this moment, Hualing slashed out again. Ruashi's face was pale. Gu Li stepped in the air and appeared suddenly. He slapped out. Ruashi was finally injured. She couldn't take it anymore after being attacked by 3 top experts. She spat out blood and fell to the ground. But she still couldn't believe it. Immortal? Damn it. What was this guy doing? Where did he get this identity from? Lin Xian's lips curled up as he looked at the other party. "Stupid ant, submit to me. You're an immortal." Ruashi couldn't believe it. What a joke. She wanted to resist. Suddenly, a terrifying light burst out from her eyes. As one of the successors, how could she not have a trump card? Her injury was real, but part of it was fake. Her main purpose was to attack the leader. Now that she saw Lin Xian, she was ready to attack. A crystal bottle flew out from her hand, and 3 sparkling and translucent water droplets fell out from within. It was terrifying. 1 drop was enough to destroy everything. Hualing, Sulai, and the rest felt a sense of fear. Damn it, this guy still has a trump card. Immortal, this is bad, they exclaimed. Lin Xian sneered. Golden light burst out from his eyes. The black bottle floated up and created a black vortex. It swallowed the 3 terrifying water droplets. At the same time, he pointed his finger at the other party's forehead. The other party's forehead split open. Countless cracks appeared on his body. Dragon elephant finger. How did you learn such a secret skill? Ruashi was shocked. She couldn't believe it. The power of the dragon elephant was too much for her to handle. Lin Xian said calmly, "I'm an immortal. Of course, I can control everything." After speaking, he waved his hand. The power of the Tai Chi diagram flew out. It shrouded the other party and sealed him completely. He left a dragon-shaped sword chi in the other party's body. Once the dragon-shaped sword chi entered, Ruashi's face turned pale. She felt despair. She felt a power that could destroy all life. The other party had too many trump cards. She couldn't believe it. Is he really a young man? How should we deal with him? Hualing asked. Lin Xian said calmly, "I want to suppress this person. Kill the rest." Chapter 46-85. Those from the Z Mansion squinted their eyes. Damn it, aren't you afraid of the Z Mansion's revenge? However, it was Su Lai, Hualing and the others who attacked him. So what if the Z Mansion was strong? Could it be compared to an exalted immortal? Those people couldn't resist at all and were all killed instantly. You guys are in charge of cleaning up the battlefield. Lin Xian ordered and then grabbed Ruashi and disappeared. Inside the Grand Sage Tower, 2 figures appeared. Ruashi was terrified. Damn it, what are you trying to do? I'm the successor of the Z Mansion. If you touch me, the Z Mansion will not let you go. To be honest, he was terrified because he felt that Lin Xian was a devil. His methods were too terrifying. There were so many people from the Z Mansion, and he killed them without mercy. If she fell into his hands, she would be in a terrible state. Kill you? What a pity. Lin Xian shook his head. You have other uses. Ruashi was scared. Damn it, is he trying to kill me? Lin Xian sneered. I'll suppress you first. You'll be useful in the future. He didn't control them because he knew that there were restrictions in their minds. Especially these successors. Their restrictions were even more terrifying. If he controlled them, he might alert the Z Mansion. He used the Taiji diagram to seal them and the dragon-shaped sword chi to lock their cultivation. This way, Lin Xian wouldn't be afraid of them escaping. When he came out, the people outside walked over. Hualing took the storage rings and said, "Exalted Immortal, these are the storage rings of these people." Lin Xian nodded and took out half of the storage rings and said, "You guys can divide these." "Thank you, Exalted Immortal." Hualing and the rest were delighted and quickly divided the storage rings. Lin Xian didn't care about this. He still had a use for these people. Hence, it was necessary to rope them in properly. "Let's go." Lin Xian waved his hand and left quickly with his people. He was looking forward to the next day when those geniuses arrived. What would it be like? Morning. The sun rose and Taiching Ancient City was bustling. Today was the day of the Z Mansion's successor, the martial arts tournament organized by Fairy Ruashi. Many people had received invitations and were preparing to go. Golden Crow rode on a war chariot and streaked across the sky like a sun god of war. Today, not only was he going to participate in the martial arts tournament, but he was also going to take down his opponent in one fell swoop. These people had already heard about the methods of the Z Mansion from their family elders. That was the Violet Palace realm. The reason why the fairies had approached them was because of the treasures they possessed, and they didn't refuse. That was because they also wanted to use this method to subdue the people of the Purple Mansion. To be able to obtain the inheritance of the Purple Palace Hall, this was a contest, and no one would back down. On the other side, Evil Spirit had arrived as well. He had the same thoughts as well. Other than him, Yun, Fei, Sheng Tiance, and the others were also here. After all, they had always attached great importance to the Purple Palace. These people arrived at the manor and waited quietly outside. In the distance, more and more people arrived. They were all discussing in the surroundings. Who would have thought that with so many geniuses here, only a few would be able to enter? Some people sighed. However, being able to see so many geniuses was enough to make them excited. Jinwu Hao frowned slightly and looked at the time as he spoke. "What time is it? Why isn't it open yet? Are they trying to intimidate us?" Evil Spirit snorted coldly. "Isn't the Purple Palace realm too much?" The other geniuses also frowned. Although the Purple Palace realm was mysterious, their status wasn't low either. What was the meaning of turning them away now? "Let's wait a little longer." Yun Fei waved his fan and said indifferently. Everyone waited for a while longer. When noon came, their faces darkened. "This is too much." Golden Crow let out a cold snort and strode over. He descended from the sky. He landed inside. "People of the Purple Palace realm, don't go too far." But in the next moment he roared. "What? How is this possible? What happened?" The people outside were shocked. Evil Spirit turned into a few streaks of black lightning and rushed over. Sheng Tiance and the others arrived one after another, and the others also entered. When they saw the scene inside, they were all stunned. There was obviously a huge battle in front, and the people of the Purple Palace realm were all dead. Their souls were destroyed, and there were no signs of life. Everyone gasped, and their scalps went numb. The people of the Purple Palace realm were all killed. Who did it? They finally understood that the Purple Palace realm wasn't trying to intimidate them. They couldn't even come out to welcome them. "Where's Fairy Ruashi? Is she dead too?" Everyone was shocked. That was one of the successors of the Purple Palace realm. They searched the entire mansion one after another. They couldn't find any trace of the person. Could it be that the person's soul was destroyed? Everyone was shocked. This was an earth-shattering event. The Purple Palace realm was reactivated, and it was obviously going to return to its peak. But now one of its mansions was destroyed. This was obviously a slap to the face of the Purple Palace realm. More importantly, one of the successors of the Purple Palace realm was still missing. The Purple Palace realm would definitely be furious. At that time, there would be a huge storm. Everyone knew that the people of the Purple Palace realm would arrive soon. The others were also discussing among themselves. Who was it? At this moment, a few chariots flew over and stopped in the sky. Countless gazes fell from the sky. One of them said, "What's going on? Was the Purple Palace realm destroyed? I still want to participate." Another person said, "It seemed that the Purple Palace realm wasn't that great. It was destroyed so easily. What a piece of trash." The people in the chariots were chatting and laughing. The people below were all stunned. God, who is this? Why is he mocking the Purple Palace realm? Does he want to die? Who are you? How dare you be so presumptuous? Jin Wu Hao looked up at the sky and shouted coldly. A sneer came from the sky. A mere demonic beast dares to be arrogant in front of us? You're courting death. Jin Wu Hao was furious. He was indeed a demonic beast, but he was a golden crow. His bloodline was terrifying. He was a divine beast. How dare the other party look down on him? You're courting death. Jin Wu Hao reached out a big golden hand and grabbed the chariot above. I want to see who's so reckless. An earth-shattering sound came, and the void beside the chariot kept shattering. It couldn't bear it at all. Jin Wu Hao had successfully broken through to the middle stage of the Saint King realm. Compared to before, his strength had undergone an earth-shattering change. Thus, this palm strike was truly terrifying. Humph! A cold snort came from the chariot. What's there to be arrogant about? Then a big flaming palm came down with a biting cold aura. It collided with the golden palm. The fire of the sun and the terrifying flames kept colliding, tearing the sky apart. Then it blocked the big golden palm. Countless people were shocked. Did it block it? Even Jin Wu Hao was surprised that the other party could block his attack. It really surprised him. His face darkened. Go to hell! Another palm came, and this time it was more powerful than before. Chapter 46-86. Boom! Inside the war chariot, Hualing was enraged. What did a mere golden crow have to be so arrogant? She shouted coldly, "Fire God's finger!" With a finger, it was as if the fire god had descended, bringing with it a monstrous power. The two clashed and were evenly matched once again. A sneer came from above. He looked arrogant, but his strength was only SSO. You don't have the right to be arrogant in front of me. Damn it! Golden Crow, how gritted his teeth. The other party was really strong. The others were also shocked. Evil Spirit walked out and asked with a frown, "Who are you guys? Who are you? If you want to know who we are, tell us where you came from." Evil Spirit said proudly, "Serene Cloud Sect, Evil Spirit. Golden Crow Clan, Golden Crow Hao. Sacred Heavens Clan, Sheng Tian Su. Myriad Transformation Sect, Yun Fei." For figures walked out one after another, their loud voices resounding through the heavens. Countless people looked up at them. They were the most powerful experts and geniuses. The people in the sky snorted coldly. Then a figure walked out. It was a man wearing the longevity battle armor, looking mighty and extraordinary. He walked out and said proudly, "Longevity Sect, Sulai." Beside him, another figure walked out. He looked like a peerless fire god. Fire God Palace, Hualing. Some people were puzzled. Longevity Sect and Fire God Palace? They had never heard of them. However, some experts and people of the older generation cried out in alarm. They were not from Taiching Ancient City, but the Eternal Mountain region. They were also a peerless sect, not weaker than the Serene Cloud Sect. Everyone sucked in a cold breath when they heard that. In other words, these people were not weaker than Evil Spirit and Yun Fei. No wonder they dared to be so arrogant. This was not the end. After these two people, another person appeared. Furthermore, he appeared out of thin air. What a terrifying void energy! Everyone was shocked. Could it be? That person looked down and said proudly, "Gu clan, Guli." The crowd was in an uproar. This time, Golden Crow How, Evil Spirit, and the others could not remain calm. The Gu clan. This was a clan of the ancients. More importantly, the Gu clan was an emperor clan. They had a great emperor and possessed a supreme weapon. Their strength was comparable to the Yi clan. Was the Gu clan's genius here? They could feel the pressure. The surrounding people were even more stunned. Too valiant. This lineup seemed to surpass Jinwu Hao and the others. Now, do you still have the qualifications to be arrogant in front of us? Guli asked coldly. Below, Jinwu Hao and the others gritted their teeth. His expression was ice cold. The people from the Gu family were indeed strong enough. However, if they were to really fight, the three of you can't beat the four of us. They had the advantage of numbers. Everyone was a top-notch prodigy. A single advantage in numbers was enough to change the entire battlefield. The atmosphere between the two sides continued to clash, causing cracks to appear in the void. This was especially true for Taiching Ancient City, where geniuses were constantly coming over. Some of them didn't plan to participate in the martial arts tournament, but because the Purple Mansion Manor was destroyed, they were unable to participate in the tournament. Such a big event also aroused their curiosity and shock. They all rushed over. For example, the Light Folk, the Wind Folk, and even Leaf Dowdenier were all present. They looked at the three experts in the sky in surprise. Did another peerless sect come? There were even desolate ancient emperor clans that came. It was just too inconceivable. These people guessed that the destruction of the Purple Mansion had something to do with these mysterious experts. Did it matter? We now suspect that the Z Mansion's matter is related to you. Jinwu Hao asked. He still wanted to conquer Ruashi, but now that she had fallen, his wish was in vain. He could only look for another target, which made him very unhappy. In the sky, Su Lai snorted coldly and frowned. Are you doubting us? The evil spirit said. So what if I'm questioning you? There were many geniuses on their side, and they all represented Taiching Ancient City. Those people were from Mount Eternal, and the two sides belonged to two different regions. They even wanted to compete with each other. The people in the ancient city were also discussing. Although the three of them were powerful, they couldn't be arrogant in Taiching Ancient City. Guli sneered. Why? Are you bullying us because we have fewer people? He waved his hand and said coldly, come out. Everyone was surprised. Is there anyone else? Soon they were dumbfounded. More people came out from the chariots in the sky. There were 50 figures standing between heaven and earth, and each of them was a top-notch expert. So many experts. It was really too shocking. Why are so many of you here? What's the matter? Xingtian Su also frowned. Taiching Ancient City was mysterious, so why couldn't we come to check it out? Huiling snorted. We came here with some exalted immortal to travel. Do you have a problem with that? Exalted immortal? The people below all frowned. Was there anyone else on the other side? The evil spirit snorted. Who dares to call themselves an exalted immortal? Are you looking for death? I think you're the one who's looking for death. Gu Li snorted and pointed his finger in the air, charging towards the evil spirit. The evil spirit slashed out with his sword. An earth-shattering energy burst out, sweeping across the 9 heavens. Everyone was nervous. They wouldn't start a war just because of a disagreement, right? It seemed very likely. There might even be an unparalleled war. All right, stop it for now. Lin Xian's voice came from the chariot. Gu Li, Su Lai, and the rest stopped and said respectfully, Yes, exalted immortal. Countless people were shocked. What kind of person was sitting in the chariot? How could he make so many geniuses so respectful? Could he be a great sage? Below, Jinwu Hao and the rest also took a deep breath. If it was a great sage, they couldn't fight against him, but he couldn't bully them. Each of their families had a great sage, and there was more than one. At this moment, a voice came from the chariot again. The exalted immortal they are talking about is me. Do you have a problem with that? As the voice fell, a figure walked out. Countless people looked up. Are there really immortals in this world? When they saw the figure, their pupils shrank and they were dumbfounded. Damn kid, it's you. Jinwoo Hao and the rest were even more dumbfounded. They couldn't believe it. They realized that they knew the person in front of them. It was Lin Xian. How could it be? He's not dead yet? Some people exclaimed. Xingtian Su frowned. Yun Fei and the rest were shocked. They couldn't believe it. Didn't this guy die in the heavenly court? Wasn't he buried in the bronze coffin? How did he come out? How dare you talk to an exalted immortal like this? Huiling snorted. Su Lai also stood out and said, Why didn't you kneel and kowtow to the exalted immortal? Kneel to him? Why? Are you idiots? Who told you that he's an exalted immortal? He's just an ordinary ant. Jinwoo Hao sneered. Yu Xia also snorted. Kid, I didn't expect you to still be alive and dare to pretend to be an exalted immortal. You really don't know what's good for you. You're the ones who don't know what's good for you. Lin Xian sneered. Whoever goes down and brings me their heads, I'll teach them immortal techniques. As soon as he said that, the eyes of the 50 top geniuses lit up. Let's go. Su Lai and Huiling stood out first. How could they miss such a good opportunity? Chapter 46-87. A huge battle was about to break out. However, at this moment, a few rays of light streaked over from afar, accompanied by a cold roar. Who is it? How dare you attack the Purple Mansion? Everyone was shocked. The experts of the Purple Mansion had arrived. In the next moment, the sky was torn open, and the experts of the Purple Mansion had arrived. When they saw that the people of the mansion had been killed, they roared in anger. The void of the 9 heavens kept shattering. Who is it? They had gone crazy. The Purple Mansion had been reborn, and this time it was their descendant. The martial arts competition was held, but now they were all dead. They didn't even know if their descendant was dead or alive. This was a slap to their faces. The people of the Purple Mansion suspected that it was the remote antiquity families who had joined forces. They were acting in the dark. Otherwise, no one else would have such strength. I suspect that it's that kid. Jinwoo Hao walked out and pointed at the sky. The people of the Purple Mansion looked up. Is there anyone suspicious? When they saw the figure in the sky, they were also stunned. It's you. He's not dead. They were shocked. Why is Lin Xian here? Evil Spirit sneered. Not only that, he had brought 50 top geniuses with him. That was an extremely terrifying force, enough to destroy everything. Maybe the Purple Mansion had been destroyed by them. After the people of the Purple Mansion heard this, their faces turned ugly. Indeed, there were countless fighters around Lin Xian. If all of them were to attack together, they could really destroy the mansion. A middle-aged man stood out and shouted coldly. Kid, is that you? Lin Xian looked calm and didn't reply. Su Lai shouted coldly. How dare you question the exalted immortals? Do you want to die? The people of the Purple Mansion went crazy. Exalted immortals? Damn it, only the Purple Mansion had immortals. Since when did this kid have such an identity? Another genius of the Purple Mansion said, Old Zhang, they are very suspicious. I suggest that we take them all back and search their souls. Yes, that's right. The people of the Purple Mansion nodded. Jinwoo Hao smiled. If you need help, I'm happy to help. Men, capture that kid. The elders of the Purple Mansion waved their hands, and the people around them rushed forward. Their auras exploded. How dare you? Su Lai, Huilinger, and the others also arrived in the air. The two sides faced each other, and the atmosphere became more and more tense. At this time, Jinwoo Hao jumped out and said, Kid, do you only dare to hide behind others? Do you dare to come out and fight? Right now, I can suppress you with one hand. Now that Jinwoo Hao had made a breakthrough in his cultivation, his strength was much stronger than before. An earth-shattering change had taken place. Therefore, he had enough confidence. Lin Xian looked down and said indifferently, "Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." He took large strides in the air and walked down. Was the final battle about to begin? Everyone was shocked. This Lin Xian was also a top genius. This battle would be very interesting to watch. Some people were excited. There were also people who sneered. "Are you stupid?" That was in the past. Jinwu Hao had already reached the middle stage of the Saint King realm. His strength was terrifying. "I estimate that one move will be enough to end this battle." "That's right, that kid is dead for sure." How could he be a match for the geniuses of our Golden Crow clan? The people from the Golden Crow clan also snorted coldly. On the other side, Su Lai, Hualing, and the others didn't care at all. How could these mortals understand the strength of an exalted immortal? Exalted immortal, kill him. Yes, exalted immortal, kill him in an instant. Let's see who will kill who in an instant. Jinwu Hao walked out. A terrifying light bloomed from his body. He looked at Lin Xian and said with a smile, "I'll give you a chance to make the first move." He didn't sense any terrifying aura from Lin Xian. "Let me make the first move?" "Fine, I'll fulfill your wish." Lin Xian nodded. He had also broken through and reached the middle stage of the Saint King realm. His strength had become stronger than before. The other party was simply courting death by asking him to make the first move. "Are you ready?" Lin Xian asked indifferently. Jinwu Hao snorted coldly. "I don't need to prepare to deal with you. You can't even break through my defense." The surrounding people sneered. They indeed thought so. No one could sense Lin Xian's aura. Lin Xian indeed didn't have any aura on him. But the moment he made the first move, it suddenly exploded. A golden palm slammed forward. Heaven and earth collapsed. With a boom, Jinwu Hao was sent flying. Countless cracks appeared on his body. Half of his body turned into a bloody mist. Shocking. Everyone went crazy. They couldn't believe it. Impossible. The people of Jinwu Hao roared crazily. There was a difference of one realm between them. How could the other party break through their defense? He was so weak that it was pitiful. It was just a demon beast. What right did it have to be arrogant in front of an exalted immortal? Su Lai, Hualinger, and the others sneered when they saw this scene. They had unlimited confidence in Lin Xian. Shengshens, Yuxia, and the others narrowed their eyes. This kid's strength had increased too. It seemed that he had also broken through. Damn it, he had hidden his strength so well. They thought that they were the only ones who had broken through. They didn't expect that the other party had also broken through. Damn it, what kind of fortune did he obtain after being locked in the ancient bronze coffin? Roar! In the distance, a figure roared in the ruins. The bloody mist in the sky gathered again. Jinwu Hao charged over with a ferocious expression. "Damn kid, how dare you hurt me? I'm going to kill you." Lin Xian said indifferently, "You're no match for me." Jinwu Hao was furious. No one had ever dared to underestimate him, especially after his strength had broken through. "I didn't expect you to break through too. I was careless before. I won't give you another chance now. I'm going to kill you with my own hands." Endless Tao began to gather on Jinwu Hao's body, forming a huge saber. The Divine Sun Saber. It was extremely terrifying. The entire void kept shattering. On the other side, Lin Xian's face darkened. He opened and closed his hands. Terrifying cracks were forming in the sky. It was the great desolate sky splitting palm. Everyone exclaimed. Both of them were using peerless superpowers. It seemed that they were going to go all out. When the surrounding people saw this, they retreated. "Go to hell. Look at my divine sun saber." Jinwu Hao's saber fell and locked onto Lin Xian. The saber was like a giant sun dragon descending. Wherever it passed, the void would shatter. There was nothing that could withstand it. It couldn't even recover. facing the terrifying divine sun saber. Lin Xian's eyes shone with golden light, the great, desolate sky splitting palm. He waved his hands, and a terrifying force surged forward. It was the Purple Mansion Realm's secret technique. Countless people exclaimed. The people from the Purple Mansion Realm snorted. They had just obtained it and couldn't display its true power. However, when they felt the aura, their faces changed. How could it be? They realized that the great, desolate sky, splitting palm that Lin Xian had used was extremely terrifying. It was even more terrifying than the older generation experts. Chapter 46-88. Boom! Boom! The void kept shattering like a painting. Cracks appeared on the surface of the solar divine blade, and it suddenly split open. The cracks spread towards Jin Wu Hao. Jin Wu Hao retreated. His body was pierced through. He was covered in blood. He couldn't believe it. He lost again in the battle of peerless skills, unable to withstand a single blow. This was Lin Xian's evaluation of him. The surrounding people were stunned. Did Jin Wu Hao lose? 2 moves, and he was defeated so thoroughly. It was unbelievable. Sheng, Tianzi, Guangming, and the others frowned. To be honest, even if they wanted to fight Jin Wu Hao, they wouldn't be able to defeat him so easily. After all, Jin Wu Hao was a top genius. But now he was defeated by Lin Xian. What kind of heaven-defying opportunity did this guy get? The expressions of the people from the Z government were incomparably grave. An elder of Z Fu was stunned. He waved his hand, and a black lotus bloomed on his fingertip. That black lotus quickly rushed towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's face changed. He shouted, and a dragon-shaped sword Qi flew out and destroyed the lotus. He stared at Z Fu and said coldly, "Do you want to die?" The black lotus broke and turned into a petal that scattered between heaven and earth. The elder of Z Fu narrowed his eyes. "You are the one who was sealed. Could it be that you are the one who was abandoned by immortals? The one who was abandoned by immortals?" What did that mean? Countless people were at a loss. Soon they understood that these people were abandoned by the heavens. They had no future. Nonsense. We are immortals. We are immortals. Hualing Air and Su Lai snorted. You people of Z Fu dare to slander immortals. Do you want to die? 50 top geniuses. They emitted a cold aura. The middle-aged man kept shaking his head. This was impossible. If he was really abandoned by immortals, he wouldn't be able to reach the Saint King realm. He was taken by the bronze coffin. Could it be that he was from the immortal graveyard? So you are from the immortal graveyard. You deserve to die more than those who were abandoned by immortals. The heavens will bury you personally. You will not survive. The people of Z Fu sneered. The others were also in an uproar. There were a few older generation experts who said, "Someone from the immortal burial ground?" This was the stuff of legends. There would never be a future. Some people looked at Lin Xian, shook their heads, and sighed. This brat's current strength was so strong that he could defeat Jin Wu Hao in 2 moves. His future was limitless. He might even be a young Grand Emperor, but he ended up in the tomb. It would be as difficult as ascending the heavens for him to take another step forward in the future. What people from the immortal tomb? Hualing, and the others sneered in disbelief. However, at this moment, a black lotus appeared in his purple palace. A terrifying power swept towards Lin Xian. Today, the people of the immortal graveyard will completely destroy you. You're interested? Huarlinger roared. Su Lai, Guguli, and the others also roared. Even Leaf Dowdenier stood up. Zifu, don't go too far. This is a battle between the younger generation. Are you going to use all of your strength? Then I don't mind telling my family to use extreme weapons. If you offend a heavenly immortal, the Gu clan will also use a few weapons. Gully roared crazily. Countless people were shocked. They didn't expect the two monarch clans to stand on Lin Xian's side. Lin Xian looked up at the sky. His nerves were incomparably solemn. Was the red spider lily going to seal him again? He felt that the red spider lily's power was too terrifying this time. It was most likely the totem of his purple palace. In the distance, on a fiery red cloud, the red phoenix looked at this scene and said, "Master, quickly save him." Great Sage Pilfire looked at this scene and sighed. Is he really from the immortal tomb? In ancient history, there were two records of people from the immortal tomb. Their talent was terrifying, but in the end they couldn't advance. In fact, their fates were very tragic. Lin Xian had shown heaven-defying talent, but his luck was too bad. He sighed and wanted to help. Since it was his disciple's request, he should save the young man. At this moment, Lin Xian shouted coldly, "What heavenly Tao? Do you represent the heavens?" He roared, and the dragonflight sword Soul split the heavens and earth. At this moment, the 9 heavens and 10 earths shook. The red spider lily in the sky kept falling, trying to seal him completely. Yi Wudao roared, "Do you really want me to use an extreme weapon?" Gu Li also shouted coldly, "Are you challenging the Gu family?" Under the threat of the two ancient monarch families, the red spider lily in his purple palace finally disappeared. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. However, at this moment, red lightning filled the sky. Is he going to transcend the tribulation? No, it's not a tribulation. It's a tribulation that's even more powerful than a tribulation. Haha! Golden Crow How looked up to the sky and laughed. Although he had lost, he was incomparably happy at this moment. Once the tribulation comes, no one can save you. This is the punishment of the heavens. Everyone's scalps went numb. The tribulation represented the heavens and earth. Is this kid really from the immortal tomb? This time, even Su Lai Hualing, and the other geniuses were stunned. They had always thought that Lin Xian was an exalted immortal, but their hearts were shaken at this moment. They had all heard of the legend of the tribulation. It represented the power of the heavens and earth, and was unquestionable. Boom! The red lightning struck down, directly piercing through the heavens and earth. Run! Everyone fled. The tribulation had the power of destruction, and no one could do anything. In the distance, Red Phoenix's eyes were red. Master, help! However, Great Sage Pilfire sighed. If the tribulation hadn't appeared, it would have been fine. Now that the tribulation has appeared, I'm afraid that inaction will also attract my tribulation. Everything in front of him was instantly drowned, turning into red cracks with a destructive aura. The people of the Purple Palace sneered. They could represent the heavenly Tao. Golden Crow How was ecstatic. "Kid, so what if you're strong? You're still going to die." Evil Spirit and the others also heaved a sigh of relief. It was great that a peerless enemy had fallen just like that. However, Yi Wudao and the others frowned. Su Lai Hualing, and the others were extremely nervous. Had they really been tricked? There was also a black-robed man in the crowd, his eyes flickering. Black Mountain looked at this scene and sighed. It seemed that it was time for him to make a move. His palms were already forming a seal. At this moment, a cold light flashed in his eyes. This was interesting. He released his hands from the seal again. Black Mountain did not attack. Lin Xian once again felt the threat of destruction. The tribulation's power was unparalleled. Even if he used the Grand Sage Tower, he could not avoid it. However, this was not the first time he faced the tribulation, so he had a way to deal with it. His body swayed, and the mysterious small sword appeared in his body. Lin Xian entered the Sword Tao world. With his current strength, entering the Sword Tao world was a piece of cake. He could even walk a distance of 500 meters. This Sword Tao world was extremely mysterious, and he could completely avoid the tribulation. After Lin Xian entered, he could no longer feel the threat of destruction. He waited for the destructive power to dissipate before going out. Chapter 46:89. The divine punishment gradually disappeared, and the crowd gathered again. They looked forward and sneered. That kid is dead, right? His body and soul must have been destroyed. That's the result of opposing the Purple Mansion. The people of the Purple Mansion snorted coldly. Golden Crow, Hal laughed smugly. So what if he was strong? He was still dead. Sulai and the others were shocked. Had they been fooled? Was that guy really not an immortal? Was he just an ordinary person? They couldn't accept it. At that moment, a faint voice sounded. "What are you so happy about?" Everyone stopped laughing, as if the god of death had grabbed their necks. They suddenly turned around. In the distance, a figure walked over. How was that possible? Golden Crow, Hal's hair stood on end. The expressions of the people of the Purple Mansion also changed drastically. The others were even more shocked. Lin Xian was still alive. He wasn't dead. Yi Wudao and Red Phoenix heaved a sigh of relief. Great Sage Pillfire was even more shocked. How was that possible? Could anyone withstand the power of divine punishment? As a great sage, he didn't dare to imagine it. The eyes of Hua Linger, Su Lai, Gully, and the others shone brightly. That was an immortal. Only immortals could be fearless of divine punishment. It seemed that what they had done before was right. The other party was really an immortal. Impossible. How could he still be alive? Golden Crow, Hal roared crazily. The people of the Purple Mansion were also stunned. They had never seen such a situation before. Hua Linger walked out and sneered. What do you know? Supreme immortals are from the immortal world. How could they be punished by divine punishment? Su Lai also sneered. So what if he's from heaven's burial? They cheered and gathered around Lin Xian again. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Show me what else you have. If not, I'm going to make a move. His eyes were filled with killing intent. It wasn't the first time these people had tried to kill him. Today, someone had to die. He stared at the people of the Purple Mansion, then at Golden Crow Hao. Golden Crow Hao's scalp went numb. He crushed a token in his hand. He was really frightened now. He had to summon the experts of his family. The people of the Purple Mansion were also secretly mobilizing experts. At the same time, he gritted his teeth and said, "No matter what, it doesn't change the fact that you are from the celestial tomb. This time, I don't know what method you used to avoid it, but in the future, you are destined to be buried between heaven and earth." Lin Xian coldly snorted. The great desolate heaven, rending palm, attacked the people from the Z government sect. The Z mansions, people roared as they fought back. As a result, they were forced to retreat. The other party was too strong. Lin Xian turned around and looked at Jinwu Hao. "You were happy when you thought I was dead." He pointed his finger out. The phantoms of dragons and elephants roared between heaven and earth. Their terrifying power crushed the heavens. Golden Crow Hao retreated in terror. The others were shocked as well. Especially the people from the Z Mansion, they were all stupefied. How could the other party use such a method? Could it be that he was their successor? Was he really killed by the other party? Damn it! The sun shines in the sky. Jinwu Hao felt an immense threat. He knew that he was no match for him. Therefore, he did not dare to be careless. The Golden Crow bloodline in his body burned rapidly, turning into a peerless sun. It shone in the 9 heavens. At this moment, heaven and earth seemed to have melted. Everyone felt as if they were boiling. The phantoms of dragons and elephants were also ignited, burning continuously. They gradually grew bigger, but they did not disappear. The remaining forces quickly charged over. With a boom, the sun in the sky cracked. Jinwu Hao vomited blood and was sent flying. Once again, he was severely injured and spat out large mouthfuls of blood. He could not even block a single attack from the other party. Hua Linger saw this scene and sneered. You said that the exalted immortal was from the immortal graveyard. If he had no future, then what were you guys? An ant among ants. Everyone's face turned ugly. After knowing that the other party was from the immortal graveyard, they were happy. They thought that they had lost a peerless enemy. But now, it seemed that the gap between them and the other party was too big. So what if the other party had no future? No one was a match for this guy now. Lin Xian looked at the evil spirit again and sneered. Why? Do you think that in front of me? Do you have the right to be arrogant? Then he pointed the dragon elephant finger at the evil spirit again. The evil spirit roared and attacked with a sword, but it was useless. His heart was pierced by the finger. His body cracked again. Damn it! He roared crazily. Lin Xian looked at Shengtian Su. Shengtian Su fought against the evil spirit, but one of his arms was torn to pieces. He frantically retreated. Lin Xian looked up and laughed. What right do you have to say that I have no future? I have fought all the way and seen all kinds of strong people. A mere Violet Palace realm and a mere resurrection. Lily, wanna bury me? That was impossible. Lin Xian roared and attacked fiercely. The great desolate sky, splitting hand, and dragon elephant finger attacked the people from the Purple Mansion sect. The young man from the Purple Mansion sect could not resist at all, and his body was instantly shattered. Those elders who were fighting against it were also shaken to the point that their blood and qi were roiling. Too strong. Lin Xian was like a peerless god of war at this moment. No one could stop him. Let's kill him together. We must kill him. The eyes of the people from the Purple Mansion sect turned red. The people from the Golden Crow clan and Serene Cloud sect roared. Such a person would be a great enemy if they kept him alive. They would not allow him to exist. Boom, boom, boom. Countless golden figures descended from the sky like golden gods of war. They suppressed a part of the world. Golden Crow, how was overjoyed when he saw this scene. Great! The elders of the Golden Crow clan had come. On the other side, the experts from the Serene Cloud sect had also arrived. Their auras were extremely powerful, and they sealed the area. After they arrived, they shouted coldly, "Kid die!" A late-stage Saint King elder walked over and slapped Lin Xian with his palm. Lin Xian roared and attacked with Dragon Elephant Finger. With a crack, the late Saint King elder's arm was shattered and he flew back while vomiting blood. His face was filled with fear. The others were also stunned. This kid was too strong. A late Saint King elder was not his opponent at all. This person could not be left alive. A peak Saint King elder walked out. Not only the Golden Crow clan, but also the Purple Mansion sect and Serene Cloud sect. There were experts in other places as well. Obviously, they were all watching the battle. This time, this kid should be dead for sure, right? Boom! The peak Saint King elder of the Serene Cloud sect casually attacked. Endless tyrannical power turned into a blade light that descended from the sky. It carried a cold and gloomy aura that could destroy everything. Facing such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian was not afraid at all. Great, desolate heaven, splitting palm. Everyone was shocked. No way. This guy wanted to fight against a peak Saint King elder? The young genius's pupils shrank. The opponent was too arrogant. The peak Saint King elder snorted and increased his power. A sound that shook the sky rang out. Lin Xian took 2 steps back. On the other side, the peak Saint King elder's arm was numb. He could not believe it. His attack was actually blocked by the opponent. Lin Xian laughed. A peak Saint King elder was only SOO. Chapter 4690. Kill. Lin Xian roared angrily. The Tai Chi diagram slashed over, spinning between heaven and earth, attacking the Tranquil Cloud sect expert. That expert roared angrily, "You're courting death." He rushed over and engaged in a great battle. Endless black storms appeared behind him. Turning into chains, covering heaven and earth as they attacked Lin Xian. Lin Xian formed a seal with his palms. The Tai Chi diagram spun between heaven and earth, blocking these chains. At the same time, endless sword chi rushed out from his body, waving his hands. The immemorial demon mountain descended from the sky. The surrounding void continued to shatter, and the chains were also suppressed. Insignificant skill. The peak Saint King of the Tranquil Cloud sect snorted, bringing with him an unparalleled power, charging towards the immemorial demon mountain. The immemorial demon mountain kept shaking, but it did not shatter. That power even caused the Tranquil Cloud sect's elder to spit out a mouthful of blood. Lin Xian stood on the immemorial demon mountain, looking down at the other party. Now you still say that I'm insignificant? I think you're the one who's overestimating yourself. Everyone was shocked. Even a peak Saint King elder could not take down the other party. This kid was too heaven-defying. Everyone attacked together. The peak Saint King of the Golden Crow tribe rushed over. There were 2 of them. On the other side, 2 more came from the Tranquil Cloud sect. For peak Saint Kings attacked the other party together. Not good. This time Yu Wudao, Dan Feng, and the others exclaimed. The other party was unable to contend with such a terrifying lineup. High Immortal. This time Hualing Su Lai, and the others were also nervous. Although Lin Xian was called High Immortal by them, it was said that the other party was injured and his cultivation was only at Saint King. Could he contend against 4 peak Saint Kings? Lin Xian stood there without dodging. He could feel a terrifying power coming from all directions, sealing off the entire heaven and earth. It seemed that the other party was preventing him from escaping. Would he escape? With a cold shout, he waved his hand, and a black jar flew out from his storage ring, releasing a terrifying devouring light. Go die. The 4 peak Saint Kings released their peerless abilities, annihilating everything in front of them. Boom! This time it was finally over. Everyone let out a sigh of relief. He wasn't dead. The pupils of the Violet Palace realm cultivator constricted as a shocking light burst out from his eyes. Marshal Dao, they saw through everything and discovered that Lin Xian was not dead. How was this possible? The others were also stupefied. An expert tore apart the void, discovering that 4 vortexes had appeared in front of him, completely swallowing the exceptional divine abilities. What was that whirlpool? Like I said, you can't stop me. Obediently become my stepping stone. Lin Xian said in a cold voice. He held the black jar in his hand and looked down like a demon god. Everyone's gaze landed on the black can. Cries of surprise rang out one after another. What was that? What a powerful weapon. Damn it, he actually had such a thing. The pupils of the Z government shrank. In the next moment, they seemed to have thought of something. Some of the older generation, cultivators, cried out in alarm. The heaven-devouring jar. How could you have such a thing? What was the heaven-devouring jar? The young prodigy was puzzled. The faces of the elders of the remote antiquity families also changed. Could it be one of those legendary things? Damn it, he actually obtained such a treasure. It was a divine artifact of the heavenly court. It was said to be able to swallow the heavens and the earth. It was extremely terrifying. It was even rumored to be an imperial weapon. What? Countless eyes turned red. They stared at the black can in disbelief. In the void far away, Heishan looked at this scene and the corners of his mouth curled into a smile. It seems that this kid has obtained a fortune. I'm relieved. Lin Xian was also surprised. Was this black can called the heaven-devouring jar? It was also the first time he knew about it. After all, no one had told him about it. What surprised him even more was the origin of this jar. It was an extreme-grade weapon. How could it be? Lin Xian was puzzled. In front of him, Golden Crow how also roared. Elder, you must be mistaken. Even a supreme saint might not be able to use an extreme weapon. How much power does it require? He's just a little Saint King. How could he use an extreme weapon? Xingtian, Su, Guangming, and the others nodded. Leaf, Dao Denier frowned. After all, his clan had extreme Dao-level weapons. They naturally knew how much power it would take to use that dangerous power once. A Saint King couldn't use it at all. Only if the other party had a boundless amount of power would it be possible. But just now they didn't see it. Purple Mansion's Elder Zhang gritted his teeth. Extreme weapons were indeed terrifying, but there were exceptions. For example, the heaven-devouring jar was an exception. The heaven-devouring jar was very mysterious. It was said that the material used to make it was very special. Therefore, even a supreme saint could use it. The only difference was the power. A Saint King had the power of a Saint King, and a great saint had the power of a great saint. Once a supreme saint used it, or if he had enough power, it would be able to display extreme power. What kind of material was it? How could it be so strange? Purple Mansion's elder gritted his teeth. It was said that it was made from the corpse of a supreme saint. It was a weapon with life. No way. Countless people were dumbfounded. Even Lin Xian's eyelids twitched. Was this the corpse of a supreme saint alive? He was stunned. Didn't that mean that after we killed him, we could use it too? Evil Spirit, Jin Wuhao, and the others' eyes turned red. Everyone's gaze fell on Lin Xian. How heaven-defying was a treasure that could be controlled by a supreme saint. In the distance, Dan Feng's expression changed. Not good. How could Lin Gongzi be so careless as to take it out? Supreme Saint Pill Fireside. Perhaps he didn't know the origin of this thing either. Lin Xian indeed didn't know before. Now that he knew, he didn't regret it. So what if he was targeted by these people? Even if he didn't have the heaven-devouring jar, these people wouldn't let him go. Since that was the case, why would he hide it? Kill. 3 more supreme saints appeared around him. They were all peak saint kings. Their auras were unparalleled, suppressing the heaven and earth. Even if he had the heaven-devouring jar, he wasn't invincible. They didn't believe that he could fight against 7 peak great saints. Terrifying auras shook the heaven and earth. Everyone was worried for Lin Xian again. Lin Xian shouted coldly, "Do you think you have more people?" He formed a seal with his palm, and the demonic beast bag flew out. A few figures came out from it. One of them was the 3-eyed vermilion bird, and the other was the purple Qilin. The purple Qilin had already recovered from its injuries. After all, Lin Xian had obtained countless heavenly treasures before. After the 2 peak demonic beasts came out, they roared into the sky. Everyone's expression turned ugly. This guy could control demonic beasts, especially the purple Qilin. Especially the purple Qilin. Back then it had been surrounded and attacked by quite a few peak stage Saint Kings, and only then did it escape. His strength was unparalleled. Damn it, this guy has so many trump cards. We can't waste any more time. We have to kill him quickly. Everyone was filled with killing intent. Lin Xian was too heaven-defying. They couldn't let him live. The 7 peak Saint Kings rushed over and fought with him. The purple Qilin roared and charged toward 3 of them. The 3-eyed vermilion bird also charged toward 2 of them. As for the remaining 2, Lin Xian faced them head-on without any fear. Although he was only a mid-stage Saint King, 2 levels lower than his opponents. So what? Chapter 46-91. The heaven-swallowing jar shot out a jet-black light. A terrifying vortex swallowed the 9 heavens. The 2 peak Saint Kings felt that their chi, blood, and souls were about to be swallowed away. They roared angrily, cutting off the void. Following that, each person struck out with a palm. Wrath of the netherworld. The serene cloud sex Saint King roared. Black laws swept out continuously. Heaven-burning palm. On the other side, the golden crow race expert erupted with a power that could burn heaven and earth. The 2 charged towards Lin, Xian together. Lin Xian roared. He did not dare to be careless in the slightest. He displayed the 9-yang divine physique to the extreme, like a golden war god. Endless sword qi swept out at the same time. The Tai Chi diagram also flew out. Human ruler seal, mountain embracing seal, dragon elephant finger, great desolate heaven splitting hand. All kinds of ultimate techniques flew out. Coupled with the heaven swallowing jar, he actually did not fall into a disadvantage in the battle with the 2 Peak Saint Kings. The 2 Peak Saint Kings went crazy. Damn it, this brat's strength was equivalent to a Peak Saint King. Coupled with that heaven swallowing jar, blocking the 2 of them was no problem at all. As for the other few Peak Saint Kings, they were held back by the 2 Peak Saint Beasts. It was difficult for them to split up for a while. Could it be that 7 people could not take down the other party? The people watching the battle from afar were even more shocked. This kind of person was too incredible. The faces of the people from the Purple Mansion were cold. A Peak Saint King from the Purple Mansion merged into the void and quickly charged over. In an instant, he arrived behind Lin Xian. Die. When the 3 Peak Saint Kings arrived, Lin Xian suffered a huge threat. Boom! This person also used Dragon Elephant Finger, charging towards his heart. Lin Xian's pupils constricted. He summoned the Great Saint Pagoda to block this attack. With a clang, he was shaken until his qi and blood roiled. He spat out a mouthful of blood. At the same time, he turned around. You're courting death. The great dragon, Sword Soul, was summoned by him. A sword slashed over. The Pinnacle Saint King still wanted to resist, but he was cleaved in half by the sword. His body and soul were destroyed. One move, instantly killing a Peak Saint King. Everyone was stunned. Even the other Peak Saint Kings felt their blood run cold. What kind of method was this? The people from the Purple Ministry couldn't believe that their opponent hadn't used the sky-swallowing jar. Instead, he used another sword shadow. What was that? Was it not weaker than the heaven-swallowing jar? The people from the Z government stared at him with bloodshot eyes. Suddenly they roared. Could it be the legendary Great Dragon Sword? You are the successor of the Great Dragon Sword. The Great Dragon Sword was one of the 5 swords under the heavens. Although it wasn't an extreme weapon, it was said to be an offensive saint art, which was extremely powerful. This brat even had the Great Dragon Sword. Lin Xian coldly snorted. He didn't explain, and once again brandished his Great Dragon Sword to attack. With one sword, the elder of the Tranquil Cloud sect was split into 2. At the same time, he activated the heaven-devouring demonic pot with all his might. The Golden Crow tribe's peak holy king roared crazily and tried to defend himself. But in the end, he was still devoured. Blood flew out from the heaven-devouring devil pot and turned into a bloody mist. He was dead. In the blink of an eye, the 3 peak stage Saint Kings on Lin Xian's side had all fallen. The strength of his battle prowess made people terrified. Lin Xian was like a demon god looking down on the world. He stared at Golden Crow, How, and walked towards him. Golden Crow, How was so frightened that he almost knelt on the ground. Old Zhang, save me. He kept asking for help. The people of the Golden Crow tribe all rushed forward. Brat, do you want to die? Lin Xian used the heaven-swallowing jar to open a path. The terrifying devouring vortex made these people's souls about to collapse. They were terrified. Lin Xian's speed was extremely fast. In addition, there was a demon show beside him, the Void Beast. It was simply like a ghost appearing out of nowhere. With the Void Beast, it was as if he had comprehended a void absolute art. He instantly arrived in front of Golden Crow How. Dragon Elephant Finger pointed out, and Golden Crow How's body shattered. With a roar, a golden pagoda flew out from Golden Crow How's body. Roar! It protected his bloodline and soul. Thank you for activating the treasure in my body. Golden Crow How roared towards the sky. Brat, do you think you are the only one who has a powerful trump card? I have one too. The golden pagoda shone brightly, and a terrifying aura spread out. Countless people were shocked. This was a great sage treasure placed in Golden Crow How's body. It was used to protect his life. Now, Golden Crow How's life was threatened. The great sage artifact flew out automatically. The golden pagoda floated between heaven and earth. Golden Crow How sneered. Die! It shattered the void, and a terrifying power enveloped the area. Its power had already surpassed that of a sage king. Lin Xian used the heaven-swallowing jar to block the surrounding attacks of the Golden Crow tribe. At this moment, he only had the great dragon, Sword Soul, left. With a sneer, the great dragon Sword Soul turned into a true dragon. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it circled the area. It instantly enveloped the golden pagoda. The two of them fought in the area. Lin Xian sneered. Without this great sage artifact, what else do you have? He walked over in large strides. Golden Crow How's expression changed drastically. He didn't expect that his trump card would be controlled so easily. Boom! Lin Xian attacked forcefully. The black and white chi condensed into a Tai Chi diagram and flew out. Golden Crow How roared. He used many of the Golden Crow tribe's absolute arts. Heaven-burning palm. Divine flames danced in the sky, enveloping the Tai Chi diagram. However, Lin Xian attacked. His 9-yang divine body swept across the sea of flames, but he wasn't injured at all. Man Ruler Seal. Golden Crow How retreated. Great desolate heaven, splitting palm. Golden Crow How's legs turned into a bloody mist. Dragon Elephant Finger. Golden Crow How's head shattered. In front of Lin Xian's powerful attack, Golden Crow How didn't have any ability to fight back. The others were terrified. Was this really a young man? He was too fierce. Damn brat, how dare you kill him? The Golden Crow tribe's experts roared crazily. Their eyes were red. However, the heaven-swallowing jar created millions of vortexes and blocked their path. Lin Xian said coldly, "Why wouldn't I dare? Your Golden Crow tribe has tried to kill me time and time again, especially this Golden Crow How. He keeps jumping around in front of me, making me very annoyed. I feel that there's no need for him to live." As he spoke, Lin Xian sent another slap towards him. The primordial demon mountain descended from the sky. Golden Crow How's body that had just condensed was shattered again. Damn it! Golden Crow How's bloodline burned and summoned the ancestor's phantom. The phantom of the ancient Golden Crow appeared in his bloodline and charged towards Lin Xian with an ancient aura. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "A mere phantom. Watch how I destroy it." The heavenly secret divine eyes shone brightly, and the power of reincarnation erupted. Something that shouldn't exist. Go to reincarnation. The Golden Crow phantom let out a terrified roar and was directly reincarnated away. "What other tricks do you have? Use them all." Lin Xian looked at the other party and said indifferently, "Golden Crow How was really desperate." He realized that no matter what secret technique he used, it was useless. Even his bloodline ability didn't work. The other party was invincible. "Spare my life." He gritted his teeth and said, "I promise that I won't be your enemy anymore." Lin Xian sneered. "What did you say? Can't I hear you?" Golden Crow How roared loudly, "Please spare me." Everyone was shocked. Such an arrogant person was actually begging for mercy. Lin Xian laughed loudly and knelt down to beg me. Golden Crow How knelt down. Lin Xian sneered, "I haven't finished speaking yet. Even if you kneel down and beg me, I won't spare you. Go to hell." He threw a punch over. Golden Crow How went crazy. He didn't even want his face anymore just to live. The other party didn't want to let him live. "Even if I die, I'll drag you down with me." He pounced over crazily. However, How could he be a match for Lin Xian? The Taiji diagram condensed again and slapped the other party away. In the heavenly secret divine eyes, the terrifying heavenly secret diagram rotated. Lock, spring and autumn. Lin Xian wanted to let the other party's soul die in pain after thousands of reincarnations. Chapter 46-92 Golden Crow How Died Amidst Endless Despair. Everyone's scalps went numb as the Golden Crow race members roared. Their eyes were bleeding, unable to bear it. Kill you. The great sages of our clan will definitely come and kill you. Facing such a threat, Lin Xian did not care. He turned and stared at another figure. Yu Xia. This person had attacked him more than once. Today he would send him to hell. Yu Xia's scalp went numb. He was stronger than Golden Crow Hao, but not by much. Now that Golden Crow Hao was dead, he was no match for him. He quickly retreated. The elders of the Serene Cloud sect surrounded him, shouting coldly, "Kid, you have already offended the Golden Crow race. Do you still want to be our enemy?" Lin Xian snorted, "If I don't kill you, will you let me go?" The Serene Cloud sect members' faces turned ugly. They would not let him go. Since that was the case, there was nothing left to say. Lin Xian punched out, turning into a fire dragon, spiraling between heaven and earth. The Serene Cloud sect members could feel their laws being suppressed. Protect Yu Xia. With an order, countless elders surrounded Yu Xia. This was their top genius. They could not allow him to die. At the same time, they looked around and said, "Are you still not going to attack? Are you going to let this kid continue to be arrogant? Everyone, let's kill him together." The others furrowed their brows tightly. In truth, Lin Xian was a huge threat to them. Some people's eyes flickered as they soared into the sky, wanting to join forces. Lin Xian snorted, "Let's see who dares. Those who attacked me today, I will not let a single one of them go. In the future, I will destroy their families." These words stunned many people, and also made many people want to kill him. The Purple Mansion people stood out and said, "Today you will die without a doubt." The Golden Crow race people also roared. They would not hold back either. The Holy Heavens race frowned. The Light race and Wind race's eyes flickered. They did not attack immediately, but they did not leave. Ling, Sulai, you too attack, restrain these people. Today, I will sacrifice him to the heavens. Lin Xian glanced at the evil spirit. Hua Linger, Sulai, and more than 50 other top prodigies began to move. A portion of them charged towards the Golden Crow clan, while the other portion charged towards the Tranquil Cloud sect and Zifu. Lin Xian recalled the heaven-swallowing jar and submitted to him, following which he struck out at the evil spirit. At the same time, he secretly urged the void beast to move stealthily and lay in ambush beside the other party. A great battle broke out in an instant. Those people's eyes were red. After killing this brat, countless people rushed forward. Lin Xian took out the great annihilation spear and used it as a battle sword, sweeping it in all directions. The heaven-devouring jar floated on the other side. The great dragon sword spirit was accumulating power in his body, waiting to be unleashed. Like a demon god, he strode forward in large strides. Go to hell! He unleashed a terrifying sword chi and charged forward. Instantly, more than 10 people at the front were turned into a bloody mist. Damn it! Those peak elders were furious and rushed over. The heaven-devouring jar bloomed, and a terrifying light devoured the terrifying power. The three-eyed vermilion bird and the purple Qilin charged over from both sides, slapping those peak sage kings until their blood boiled. However, there were too many people who wanted to kill Lin Xian this time. A sage king from the Zifu sect rushed out and turned into a blood-red lightning bolt. Blood demon technique. He roared and formed a seal with his palms. Endless blood-red light appeared on his body and turned into thousands of doppelgangers that charged towards Lin Xian. This was also a peak sage king who had mastered an ancient secret technique. It was extremely terrifying. Lin Xian laughed and continued to attack with the Great Annihilation Spear. The great sage pagoda bloomed with light around him and blocked the terrifying sea of blood. With one strike, a terrifying demonic chi pierced through the thousands of blood-red doppelgangers. That peak sage king was shocked. Damn it, he stared at the Great Annihilation Spear. This was also a terrifying sage weapon. Buzz! At this time, Lin Xian suddenly turned his head and looked at the Golden Crow clan. The soul fire in his eyes floated out. More than 10 Golden Crow expert souls were ignited and they roared crazily. Then the Taiji diagram spun and split a few people from the Yin sect into two. Lin Xian fought a bloody battle on his own. Kid, you're too arrogant. This is not a place where you can behave atrociously. I don't believe that your power is limitless. 10 Peak Sage King experts pressed over and enveloped heaven and earth. Facing the 10 experts, Lin Xian was not afraid. He took out the great dragon sword again. Then he took out a few storage rings and crushed them. The power inside was all given to the great dragon sword. With a slash of the sword, it swept across all directions. Boom! 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 The 10 Peak Sage Kings retreated. 3 of them were instantly destroyed. The other 5 also vomited blood and flew back. Only a few were intact. Their faces were pale. Damn it! Using a great sage weapon, angry shouts sounded out. Was the other party the only one with a trump card? They also had one. The Zifu side took out a battle sword and pointed it at the southern sky. The terrifying battle sword released a terrifying radiance. It was also a great sage artifact. It was used by these people together. Its power was terrifying. Lin Xian used the great sage pagoda to block. His blood and chi roiled. He vomited blood. It had to be said that these people really had a lot of trump cards. The Golden Crow clan also used a great sage artifact. It was the golden, sacred pagoda that descended from the sky. Lin Xian once again felt a great pressure. He summoned the heaven-swallowing jar back. He blocked the terrifying power. The Yuyan sect took out an evil sword. It was incomparably black, like the eyes of an evil god, and attacked. At this moment, Lin Xian's soul was violently attacked. He opened the heavenly secret divine eyes. A pair of heavenly god eyes looked down on all directions. The great destruction spear was used to the extreme. Terrifying demonic chi surged like a mountain, resisting. Lin Xian alone faced 3 great sage artifacts. The power in his body was quickly depleting. The great dragon sword spirit used the power of the storage ring, while the destruction spear and the heaven-swallowing jar were his own power. Boom! After one attack, Lin Xian retreated. The people of the 3 sects were also pale. They were all using great sage artifacts. It was also very strenuous. After all, they were not true great sages. However, they had the advantage in numbers. Great, that brat was definitely out of power. He could not withstand a second attack. Everyone attacked again. The Purple Mansion sect elder roared. Hope was restored in the eyes of the others. This was indeed a good opportunity to kill the other party. Lin Xian's face was cold. He took out a jade bottle again, and a lot of essence blood appeared from within. This was the power he had condensed from the corpses of the experts he had refined with the hand of fortune. At this moment, he took it all out. He attacked the Yuyan sect. The people of the Yuyan sect felt their scalps go numb. The power of this sword had sent their evil swords flying. They flew into the distance. Endless cracks appeared on the arms of the sword-wielding elders. Damn, he was too strong. Where did the other party get so much power? At this moment, the Golden Crow clan and Purple Mansion sect elders carried two great sage artifacts and attacked. Die, brat! Chapter 46, 93. Facing such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian's figure disappeared in an instant. At the same time, the void beast and the evil spirit also disappeared. The attacks of the two peak sage kings struck the void, causing it to split open. However, their expressions became incomparably ugly. The people of the Serene Cloud sect were even more frenzied. Damn it, where was the evil spirit? They were in charge of protecting him, but they realized that the evil spirit had disappeared. Not good, it was a spatial ability. The people of the Serene Cloud sect were in a frenzy. They looked at the people of the Purple Mansion and quickly said, "Fellow Taoists, quickly use your martial Tao Heavenly Eye to help us investigate. We are extremely grateful." One of the experts of the Purple Mansion released a terrifying light in his eyes as he used his martial Tao Heavenly Eye. This was a powerful eye technique. Found it. That person snorted coldly as he struck out with his palm, causing the void to shatter, spreading outwards. In the distant void, a pagoda floated up and down. It was that brat's defensive weapon. Everyone rushed over. Inside the great sage pagoda, the evil spirit's face turned ugly. He did not expect that, under such protection, the other party could still catch him. Damn it. He fought back like a madman. He knew that begging for mercy was useless. However, how could he be Lin Xian's opponent? Lin Xian easily suppressed him, shattering all the bones in his body. At this moment, the great sage pagoda shook violently. Lin Xian's face changed. The evil spirit gritted his teeth and said, "Let me go, or you will die." Lin Xian snorted coldly as the great sage pagoda gradually faded. He looked around. The people around him also saw him, and they all gritted their teeth and roared. "Brat, let him go." The elder of the Serene Cloud sect roared. "Otherwise, I will cut you into pieces." Lin Xian sneered. "Let him go?" It was impossible. He grabbed hold of the evil spirit and used the Hand of Fortune, causing the blood in the evil spirit's body to boil. Finally, it all melted, forming a drop of essence blood. The people of the Serene Cloud sect wanted to die. Not only did the other party kill the evil spirit, he even refined it. What kind of method was this? This is the result of trying to kill me. Lin Xian's gaze swept across the land. Everyone felt their scalps go numb, especially those young geniuses who kept retreating. In the blink of an eye, two top geniuses had fallen. This fellow was simply unscrupulous in his actions. Nothing could make him afraid. "Aunt, you are too arrogant." A cold voice rang out, accompanied by the aura of a great sage. Countless people felt fear and prostrated themselves on the ground. The people of the Golden Crow race cried out in excitement, "Ancestor, the ancestor has come." Not good, is a great sage descending? Leaf Dowdenier's expression turned unsightly. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. He moved quickly, using the void beast to travel through space. The place where he had been standing was completely enveloped by a palm, turning into nothingness. Following that, a group of middle-aged men flew over, flames burning on their bodies. It was a great saint of the Golden Crows. "Old ancestor, you're finally here. Hurry up and catch him." Jin Wu Hao had already been killed by him. The elders of the Golden Crow race kept shouting, "Tear him to pieces. Old ancestor, he has more than one treasure in his hands. We must capture him." Voices rang out one after another. The great saint of the Golden Crow race's eyes shone with an extremely cold light. There are treasures, and they seem to be extreme weapons, as well as heaven-defying weapons like the great dragon sword. He was overjoyed. Now that he was the only great saint, he had to act quickly. "You can't escape." His gaze pierced through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. He punched the great sage tower. The great sage tower was sent flying. Lin Xian's blood boiled, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Cracks appeared on his body. Damn it! A great sage! It was not something a peak great sage king could compare to. A peak great sage king could not open the great sage tower, but a great sage could transmit his power. Dodging was not a solution. He had to take the initiative to attack. Lin Xian's body was surrounded by the great sage tower. At the same time, the heaven-devouring jar floated up and down. He took out the great dragon, Sword Soul again. It was indeed a good item. When he saw the heaven-devouring jar and the great dragon Sword Soul, the Golden Crow Grand Sage's eyes shone with a cold light. You don't deserve to have such things. His palm reached out again, like a peerless claw. Lin Xian used the heaven-devouring jar to absorb the power above, and at the same time resist. A clanging sound rang out. The dragon-shaped sword blocked the opponent's palm. The palm grabbed the dragon-shaped sword directly, and a rumbling sound rang out, as if it wanted to snatch it away. Lin Xian felt a great threat. He roared angrily. 2 more storage rings cracked open, and the energy inside was given to the great dragon Sword Soul. The great dragon Sword Soul roared and exploded with power. The Golden Crow Grand Sage released his palm, and a few of his fingers were chopped off. He retracted his hand, and his face turned completely cold. He was actually injured. Despicable ant, you have thoroughly angered me. In his eyes, an extremely cold, murderous intent exploded. At the same time, a great sage walked out from the Yuyan sect. 2 great sages walked out from the Purple Mansion sect. For great sages circled between heaven and earth. Lin Xian's face turned ugly. He could fight against one, but 4 great sages were too terrifying. This time, the kid would definitely not be able to escape. Everyone gritted their teeth. Seeing this, Yu Wudao walked out. He is my friend. If the great sage touches him, it is the same as touching me. My Yi family will not agree. My Gu family will do the same. Gu Li said coldly. The Hall of Longevity and the Fire God Palace will do the same. Hualinger and Su Lai walked out as well. These people were all top prodigies and represented different sects and families. Among them, 2 of the emperor families were shocking. However, the 4 great sages' expressions were cold, especially the great sage of the Purple Mansion sect. Just based on you, you can't save him unless a true great sage from your family comes. Or else, today no one can save him. Is that so? Try touching him. A cold voice rang out, causing one scalp to go numb. Who are you, pretending to be a ghost? Get out here. The great sage of the Yuyun sect roared. A voice rang out between heaven and earth. I am from the heavenly court. If you touch him, you will be an enemy of the heavenly court. Countless people were terrified. Did the heavenly court's people come out again? It was that black-robed man. He took the sky lantern and did not leave the ancient city. Countless people exclaimed. The Golden Crow Great Sage and the Great Sage of the Yuyun sect also had ugly expressions. They had naturally heard of this person. He was someone who had killed 2 great sages. The Great Sage of the Purple Mansion sect snorted coldly. Humph! Hiding your head but showing your tail. You don't even dare to come out. What right do you have to threaten us? Come out if you have the guts. The 2 of them emitted a biting, cold-killing intent. One of their companions had died at the hands of this person. This kid is related to the heavenly court. We will not let him go. Not good. Master Block is attacking. In the distance, the Red Phoenix saw this and exclaimed. Chapter 46-94. Supreme Sage Pilfire took a deep breath. His figure appeared between heaven and earth. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. Was the 5th Supreme Sage here too? Which family was he from? It was none other than Supreme Saint Pilfire. He said loudly, Young Master Lin is an honored guest of the Pill Cauldron School. Anyone who tried to touch him would be an enemy of Danding's sect. Everyone was in an uproar. They didn't expect another supreme sage to help Lin Xian. And this time, a great sage actually stepped forward. The Golden Crow Grand Sage looked at Supreme Sage Pillfire. Do you want Danding's sect to be destroyed? You can try. Supreme Sage Pillfire shouted coldly. Monstrous flames appeared on his body. Those were green flames. They were abnormally terrifying. Everyone felt like their bodies were about to melt. The Golden Crow Grand Sage also frowned. Are you challenging me? He thought. He shouted angrily. He transformed into a peerless sun, but he didn't attack immediately. This was because Great Saint Pillfire was extraordinary. He was one of the giants of Danding's sect. He had been a supreme sage for thousands of years. His strength was unfathomable. More importantly, he was a top alchemist. Some supreme sages even needed his help. His identity was very special. You can't take him away. The supreme sage of the Purple Mansion shouted angrily. We have 4 people here. Yes, that's right. The others also walked over. They surrounded Lin Xian. Everyone sighed. Even if the Heavenly Court and Danding sect intervened, they still couldn't save him. Pill Flame, Great Saint, shouted coldly. He didn't know what was good for him. He grabbed at the 4 people with one hand. The 4 snorted. How dare you? They all attacked. In an instant, the 4 of them retreated. Countless cracks appeared on their bodies. Their faces were filled with shock. Your strength. The surrounding people were also stunned. One person could make 4 supreme sages retreat. What kind of strength was that? Black Mountain smiled. It seemed that he didn't need to do anything. This person was at least a late-stage supreme sage, or even stronger. As expected, the supreme sage of the Purple Mansion narrowed his eyes. You're already a late-stage supreme sage? After all, they were only early-stage supreme sages. The difference between them was too great. If the other party wanted to kill them, he could do so with a wave of his hand. Supreme Saint Pillfire snorted. Good. I didn't kill you because I'm giving your sect face. If you dare to make a move again, then this old man won't be polite anymore. Do you have any objections to me taking this person away? The 4 great sages didn't respond. They were no match for Yang Qi at all. In fact, he couldn't even compare to a single finger of the other party. Unless they also sent out an even more terrifying late great sage. Pillflame, you've gone too far. At this moment, a cold voice sounded. Between the heavens and the earth, countless red spider lilies filled the air, as if they wanted to seal the heavens and earth. Supreme Saint Pillfire's expression changed. He waved his sleeve and enveloped Lin Xian. Then he disappeared with Lin Xian and Dan Feng. The sky was filled with changes, descending and piercing through the void. However, he still couldn't stop the Pillfire Saint. Humph, do you think you can escape? The Purple Mansion realm expert shouted coldly. Clearly, this person was also a great sage late-stage expert. I'll be waiting for you at Pill Cauldron School. If you could come out, you would have done so long ago. Don't try to act mysterious. Supreme Saint Pillfire's last words floated out, then disappeared completely. Countless people were shocked. Lin Xian was rescued just like that. After killing so many experts, including 2 top-notch geniuses. Did he just leave like that? It was unbelievable. Black Mountain sneered, his voice resounding from all directions. In the future, if any great sage dares to chase after Lin Xian, don't blame me for killing your sect members. The others felt their hair stand on end. Were the people from the Heavenly Court intimidating them? Damn it! The red spider lilies in the sky tried to seal Black Mountain. However, Black Mountain's figure turned into black mist and disappeared. He sneered. You haven't fully recovered yet, so don't come out to be arrogant. Humph, One day, you and the heavenly court will be completely destroyed. The red spider lilies in the sky slowly disappeared. The people from the Purple Mansion realm seemed to have received some kind of order. They didn't make a move. Let's go. They left quickly. After them, the people from the Golden Crow tribe and the Serene Cloud sect also left. They were unwilling to accept this. Even a great sage couldn't do anything to the other party. The others left one after another, spreading the news throughout Taiching Ancient City. Everyone went crazy. In this battle, the Golden Crow tribe, the Serene Cloud sect, and the Purple Mansion realm suffered heavy losses. The Golden Crow tribe and the Serene Cloud sect lost too many experts. Not only did many late-stage Great Sage King elders die, but 2 top geniuses also died. The Purple Mansion realm was also slapped in the face. Even the super great sage of the Purple Mansion realm couldn't take down the other party. However, Lin Xian was rescued by the people from the Pill Cauldron School. For a moment, everyone was discussing whether to attack the Pill Cauldron School. Some people said that the remote antiquity families and great sects wouldn't let this go. Just wait, there will be a shocking battle. Some people shook their heads. After all, the one who attacked was Supreme Saint Pillfire. He was very strong, and more importantly, he was an alchemist. Some of the remote antiquity families and great sects needed his help. If they really angered him, and he didn't refine precious pills for them in the future, they wouldn't even have time to cry. Countless people were discussing. The people from the Golden Crow tribe and the Ghost sect were discussing urgently. The eyes of the other families and sects flickered, such as the Light tribe, the Sacred Sky tribe, and the Wind tribe. If they gathered a group of top elders, it would be a small meeting. The Light tribe's patriarch's eyes flickered. After listening to everyone's report, he said that the Purple Mansion realm wasn't as powerful as the legend said. After all, the Purple Mansion realm existed 70,000 years ago, and the situation now was different from back then. The Purple Mansion realm couldn't even deal with a young man. I think they've completely declined. At this moment, a supreme elder opened his eyes. He was a living fossil. He said indifferently, "Since that's the case, we can send people to secretly investigate. If the Purple Mansion realm really declined, then all the martial arts and cultivation techniques they collected would be snatched away." Their eyes shone with a cold light. They were going to secretly take action. Not only the Light tribe, but also the Sacred Sky tribe and the Wind tribe. They all believed that the Purple Mansion realm was no longer a threat. An operation regarding the Purple Mansion realm was secretly carried out. On the other side, Lin Xian was taken away by the great sage Pillfire in the Pill Cauldron sect. When he arrived at the Pill Cauldron sect, he was completely relieved. He then spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face became extremely pale. Although he had killed countless experts in this battle, and even fought against the great sage, he had displayed a heaven-defying scene. However, he had also been seriously injured. After all, none of the people he had killed were weak. Especially when he fought against the great sage at the end, he had been seriously injured. He had been able to fight back only because he had many trump cards and a divine body. Otherwise, if it were any other Saint King, even a peak Saint King, their heart and soul would have been destroyed. Chapter 46, 95. Lin Gongzi, are you all right? Dan Feng was very nervous. Lin Xian shook his head. I won't die, but I have to go into seclusion immediately. Otherwise, my foundation will be damaged. Indeed, he was severely injured in the battle. Don't worry. Pill Cauldron Gate has a lot of pills. Dan Feng said, I'll get them for you. Pill, Fire Great Sage, looked at him and gave him a bottle of pills. Little guy, take care of yourself. Lin Xian cupped his fists and said, Senior, thank you for saving my life today. I can't thank you enough. Pill, Fire Great Sage nodded. Lin Xian said, Oh right, the 2 demonic beasts. Lin Xian didn't have time to take the purple qilin and the three-eyed vermilion bird with him. He wondered how they were doing. The purple qilin was fine, but the three-eyed vermilion bird seemed to be severely injured. "Take care of yourself. I'll get the 2 demonic beasts back for you," Pill Fire Great Sage said. The 2 demonic beasts were suppressed and taken away by the Golden Crow tribe and the Serene Cloud sect. The situation was bad, but Lin Xian knew that they weren't dead because he had planted the seal of life and death on them. He would know when they died. The seal of life and death was still there. "Okay, stop talking. Take care of yourself, or your foundation will be damaged," Dan Feng said anxiously. Lin Xian went into seclusion and started taking pills to recover. On the other side, Pill Fire Great Sage went back. 2 figures were waiting for him on a mountain peak. One of them was the Grand Elder, Purple Pill Great Sage, and the other was the sect leader of Pill Cauldron Gate. The sect leader of Pill Cauldron Gate didn't say anything. Would it be disadvantageous to Pill Cauldron Gate? He knew what had happened before. He had offended quite a few top powers at the same time, including the Purple Mansion. No matter how strong Pill Cauldron Gate was, they would feel the pressure. Purple Pill Great Sage frowned. Pill Fire Great Sage smiled. "Since you've received the news, you should know his identity and trump cards," the Purple Pill Great Sage said. The descendant of the Great Dragon had the heaven-swallowing jar. His talent was top-notch. He might be the successor of the 9 sons. If he grew up, his future would be limitless. They will definitely surpass us. Indeed, his potential was unparalleled. Supreme Saint Elixir Fire nodded with a smile. Pill Cauldron Sect Master frowned. However, he was someone from the immortal burial ground and had no future. The Great Saint of Pill Fire laughed. "Sect leader, you've been smart all your life, but now you're stupid." Although it had come to Tianfa and was known as the immortal burial ground and had no future, it was still able to cultivate to its current level. "Do you think it's fair to use someone from the immortal tomb to evaluate him? He definitely had a way to avoid divine punishment. Otherwise, he would not have broken through to the great Holy King tier. If we nurture such a genius in the future, he will reach the peak and even go one step further, reaching the Emperor realm. Our Pill Cauldron School will have 10,000 years of glory." Pill Crucible's sect leader sucked in a deep breath. "Are you saying to place your hopes on him?" It was too risky. He had offended several top forces. The Z Mansion sect won't let him off. Furthermore, the heavenly geniuses of our Pill Cauldron Gate aren't weak either. Why should we place our hopes on such a person? Pill Fire Great Saint shook his head. The Pill Cauldron School was indeed superior. Besides, each of us had a disciple. Danfeng, Jiangqin, and Fanxing. Aside from Danfeng's special identity, how did Fanxing and Jiangqin compare to Jingwu, Hao, and Evil Spirit? Naturally, they weren't inferior to them. Pill Cauldron's sect leader said. Yes, they weren't inferior to them, but how strong could they be? At most, their strength was on par. And now, Golden Crow, Hao, and the Evil Spirit were both taken down by Lin Xian with ease. Among the heavenly geniuses of Taiqing Ancient City, how many of them could compete with Lin Xian? Even if there were, one was Yi Wudao and the other was Guangming. Those two had the primordial physique, so they had the highest chance of winning. Then there were the heavenly geniuses of the Z Mansion sect that they had secretly nurtured. Apart from them, Sheng Tiance, Feng Huang, and the others were still lacking. This was a golden age. All sorts of primordial physiques had appeared. Even legendary treasures and extreme weapons had appeared. Even sects that had been destroyed tens of thousands of years ago had reappeared. You only know how to fear the Z Mansion sect, but aren't you afraid of the heavenly court? Furthermore, the Z Mansion sect's ambition couldn't be underestimated. Their foundation is too terrifying. Don't forget what happened tens of thousands of years ago. They used to rule the world, and even now, people can't see them clearly. In the future, our Pill Cauldron School might be destroyed. Even if we could survive, would you be willing to be ruled by others? Pill Cauldron School's master fell silent. Beside him, Great Sage Amethyst took a deep breath. It seems that whether we help Lin Xian or not, we will face the Z Mansion sect in the future. Great Sage Pillfire nodded. Since that was the case, why not nurture a peerless genius? Lin Xian had the talent of a great emperor. A great emperor? Isn't that too exaggerated? Pill Cauldron School's master shook his head. Don't forget that this is just Taiching Ancient City. The other ancient cities have their own imperial princes. Their bloodlines are heaven-defying. Great Sage Pillfire said that even if he didn't become a great emperor, he would still stand at the peak of the Great Sage realm. How terrifying would his strength be? Don't forget that he has the Great Dragon Sword Soul, the 9-yang divine body, and the heaven-devouring jar. His battle prowess definitely surpasses that of a great sage. Think about it. If he could gather the complete heaven-devouring jar, there would be no great emperor in the world. At that time, there would be no great emperor in the universe. He would be the uncrowned king. No one would be able to defeat him. Even if the other great emperor clans had great emperor weapons, they would only be able to fight him to a draw. I understand. Pill Cauldron School's master took a deep breath. From now on, we will support this young man with all our might. For the future of our Pill Cauldron School, and to not be swallowed by the Z Mansion sect, we must stand on Lin Xian's side. By the way, Jiang Qin doesn't seem to get along with Lin Xian. Should I give him a warning? Pill Cauldron School's master shook his head. Forget it. Jiang Qin is also a promising talent. He might be able to lead Pill Cauldron School in the future. Therefore, he had to be thoroughly tempered. He must let him know that there is always someone better than him. Lin Xian can teach him how to be a good person. After reaching a consensus, the three of them laughed. Lin Xian still didn't know that Pill Cauldron School had decided to stand on his side. At this moment, he was still recovering with all his might. Endless light and great Tao appeared on his body, enveloping him. On the other side, Taiching Ancient City was surging. After Lin Xian's battle, someone else made a move. This time it was in the dark. A few peak great sage kings from the Light Clan turned into auroras and quietly hid. Together, they suppressed the Z Mansion's sex expert. Then they collected his soul. However, they discovered that there was a restriction in his soul. They didn't manage to find the core content. That person's soul automatically burned up. Damn it. The people from the Light Clan threw the corpse on the ground. One of them said, "Why don't we attack a palace? It would be best if we could capture a successor." The few of them discussed for a while and prepared to take action. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.